All right, I think we are live. I see the green bar saying you are live. So we are live. Chris, are you there?
I am here, brother. Doing a
All right,
little bit of
cool.
last minute cleanup here, but I think we should be good to go. And
Cool.
we are live as well. I'm going to check my phone because I know it takes a couple seconds to kick over. And this is the
Cool.
end all be all of if we're just sitting here talking to ourselves or if there's actually other people coming in. If you guys can hear us rambling about this right now, let us know in the chat who you are and where you're tuning in from. We always like to get an idea of who's with us and where you're hanging out with us from.
Yeah, awesome. So if you guys are coming in, we got well over 130 of you waiting to come in the room. So come on in the room. We've got a bunch more coming. So come on in the room. This is a live workshop that we're going to be doing here tonight. And we're going to be actually doing the 5 phases to launching a product on Amazon. That is going to be the main topic, which I think you guys are all excited to be here to learn more about. I'm excited to be here. We are going to be jumping in right around 9 o'clock. We've got about 6 to 7 minutes before we're going to actually officially kick it off. But do us a favor, like Chris said, put your first name, where you're tuning in from in the chat box, and we can see where everyone is coming in from. That would be pretty cool. We'll give a couple shout outs here. We are going to be giving some downloads away at the end. We've got some checklists and some cheat sheets and some guides and stuff that we're going to give you guys. You should have already been able to download a guide that we gave you in an email, which will actually help you as we're going along here. Now, if you didn't receive it, it's okay. It should be in the chat box right now or somewhere in that vicinity. And you can go ahead and download that. And it's probably going to be something you're going to want to probably print out. Not right now, you don't have to, but even in the future, maybe even tomorrow. And then you can go ahead and fill in the blanks. Again, this is going to be walking through how to find a product, how to source a product, how to do a pre-launch, how to launch, and then how to promote the product. There's actually 5 phases that we say there's 5 phases. That's what it takes to launch a product. But we're going to walk you through each of those in detail. Now we will be moving kind of quick because we don't want to keep you here all night, but we want to be able to cover all of the different aspects of those 5 phases. So this way here you can walk away with actionable stuff. It really annoys me when you get on a workshop or a webinar and you don't leave with anything that you can actually do. We're going to actually teach here tonight, and share with you not just what we've done, but what other people that we've helped have done, and we'll give you some examples of those people as well. And it really does come down to understanding the process and then just executing on the process. That's really what it comes down to. So, Chris, let's start giving a few shout outs here. We've got a bunch of people rolling in here. We've got Alberto from Florida. What's up, Alberto? We've got Abdul says hello. Let's see, Everend from Kyle, just south of Austin,
Texas.
Cool. Nice. Nathan from Utah, Melanie from Arizona, David from Sarasota, Florida, Todd from Virginia, Josh from Mississippi, Carlo from Germany. All right, international folks in the house. What's up? John from Houston, Deborah from San Antonio, Eric from Las Vegas. Connie says, hi there. Hi, Connie. Rob hanging out from Australia. Keen to hear from you guys. I love it. He's keen. That must mean that you're really glad, you're happy that you're
really
here.
Excited, man.
Yeah, excited. I love that. That's right. Cheese, mate. Let's see. Josh from Israel. What is up from Israel? From Josh, what's up? Robin, Maryland, can hear you loud and clear. Thank you. Jim, woohoo, always excited. Smiley face. I'm pretty excited today. I have to say I'm pretty excited. It was sunny today, 75 degrees, beautiful day. It's a good day here. Let's see. Connie, the download didn't work for me. Just a blank black page. Chris, you want to speak to that, please?
Let me check it and see if it works for me.
The last I checked, it was working fine. It might be trying to open in your web browser. So you might want to right click or option click that link, and it'll then ask you to save it as, and you can save it to your desktop. I haven't had anybody else email me on that. Mike from Virginia, what's up? Jim from Dallas, Connie from Central New York, John from Guatemala. Whoa. All right. Rachel from Raleigh, from, James and Ginger. What's up? Wow. So we got a bunch of you guys coming in. I mean, tons of people coming in. This is awesome. This is exciting. And I want you guys to understand, okay? This can be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be, but it can be. And the thing is we are going to break it down. We're going to chunk it down. I'm a big fan of taking something that's big and then chunking it down. And so that way there, we can actually go through that process and take you from here to here and get you through that process. Because with every phase, there's going to be challenges, but hopefully by us kind of taking you through what has happened to us or other people that we've helped and kind of show you the shortcut, it's going to help throughout this process. But I am going to tell you, there are going to be ups and downs, but that's with any business. It doesn't matter what it is. I will also say this is not a get rich quick thing. This is going to require some work. And it's going to require some time investment on your part. But the things that we're going to be talking about are totally doable for anyone, and I'm going to show you that in a second. Why I'm nothing special, trust me. And Chris is pretty special in his own way, but I'm not really sure. Chris, are you that special that you have more talents than a lot of people out there?
I'm not sure if that was a compliment, an insult, or some sort of backhanded compliment. No, I'm not that smart. I think I'm kind of like you. I'm one of these people that I think has been blessed with an overabundance of common sense. And I like to think that I like you can kind of chunk things down, and I can take what I kind of understand and break it down into meaningful pieces for me, and then try to communicate those to other people like my team. Right. And so, I'm not special. I just look at things a little differently than some people maybe, but other than that, it's just doing it. I've told you in the past that my superpower is running headfirst through a wall and letting my team build a door behind me. And you're kind of the same way. I can break stuff and then go, well, that worked, but maybe next time I should use the door. Right. Here's this other thing that would also let me get through the wall. And so that's really, I think, where you and I kind of resonate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, enough of the small talk. We're going to dive in here really soon. A bunch of people still coming in. Chris, before we do, though, mention how the chat's going to work and all of that stuff, because we are live here right now if you're here at 9:00 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday night. But just tell people that are attending what to expect in the chat, how that's all going to work.
So guys, the way that the chat works is we do actually leave it live throughout the entire workshop. And the reason that we do that is because we want you to be able to ask any question that you have at any point as we work our way through here. Like Scott said, there's a lot of material. We do move quickly, so we don't want to lose anybody. And we don't want to lose any of those really good questions that I know you guys came equipped with. So we like to answer those one of three different ways. The first one is going to be directly in the chat. As we work our way through the content, I'm going to be over here furiously typing some answers back to some of the questions that you guys have directly in the chat. The second way is we do take a couple small breaks as we work our way through the content, again, because we do move very quickly and Scott gets thirsty. He needs some water as we work our way through.
Every now and then.
So we stop, we let him get a sip of water, and we work our way through some questions that pertain to what we just covered. So whether it's sourcing, launching, whatever section we just covered, we're going to answer a couple of questions there. If we don't get to it in one of those first two ways, fear not, because we save a long form Q&A for the end. So basically we do Q&A until we drop at the very end. So if we don't get to it right away, we'll get to it at the end of the workshop here tonight.
Generally, Thursday nights are a late night for us. And that's okay. I plan my week around it accordingly because I like to share this. And I know that just about everybody that ever attends, they always tell us to get tons of value. So that's what we want to do. Chosy wants to know what our shirt says. It says basically TAS Breakthrough Live, Phoenix, Arizona, 2016. So there are super shirts, kind of like on The Incredibles. You ever see that movie, Chris? The Incredibles? It's a good movie.
I like that movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I'm a big animated movie fan. I'm a giant child though, so I guess that's.
Me too. All right, cool. So, all right, guys. So now that we got that stuff out of the way and you guys know what our shirt says, let's go ahead and dive in. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and go over to my slide deck, which is basically my computer screen. And then you can go ahead and start to walk through these different, the different pieces of content that I have created. That's going to walk you through all of that. Ed says, hi. Ed, what's up? Got a lot of you guys coming in. Terry from Chicago, Tim, hey, what's going on, everyone? You guys are awesome. All right, so let's go. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my screen. So let's see if this works. And it looks like it is going to.
All righty.
Can you see my screen okay?
I can indeed.
The one thing I'm seeing here, though, is I think I'm in the wrong editor. So just hold on. Bear with me, Chris. I think I might have to switch that.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Just
Chris,
a
are you
minute
there?
at the end. Yep.
All right, cool. All right, let's see if we can try that one more time. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's see here. Can you see my screen now, Chris? Chris, can you see my screen? Chris? Chris, can you see my screen?
I can see you now.
All right, cool. We got to go ahead and can you see the full screen?
I can indeed. If you want to hide those thumbnails, everybody else will be able to see us as well.
Cool. I think we are there.
Woohoo!
Are we there, Chris?
Yes, we are. Let's take
That's
it
a little
slow.
rocky start.
Let's take it slow. Let the slides catch up with us as we work our way through them here tonight. But I think we're good to go. Guys, let us know when you can see the screen in the chat as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. So we're going to get rocking and rolling. I apologize for that little bit of a hiccup, that a little bit of a technical glitch there, but we're going to get rocking and rolling. So the reason why you guys are here is because you guys want to learn more about private labeling and how to start selling on Amazon. And what I want to share with you is how to find and launch products that make $100 per day. And it doesn't even matter if you've ever sold anything online before. And I think that's the great thing about starting on Amazon is because they take a lot of the technical stuff out of the equation. And if we focus on a smaller number, like $100 per day, it becomes easier to obtain, right? Because now we don't have to think, well, I got to make $100,000, right? Let's break it down. Like I said earlier, let's chunk it down. And by looking at $100 per day, to me, it seems a lot easier to do, and especially if you follow what I'm going to share with you here tonight. Now, let me go ahead and advance my slides here. Now, Chris, did you see that advance? Are we okay?
Helps if I turn my microphone back on? Yes, I did.
All right, cool. All right, good. All right, we're caught up. So basically what we're going to be talking about right here is the 5-step process that I use to select and launch a private label product and generate over $118,000 in less than 6 months on Amazon.com. Now that happened because I decided to just test this marketplace. Okay. I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot and see if I can do this. And guess what? It kind of worked. So that's why I'm here. And I want to share with you that process. Now, I started with no experience selling on Amazon, no product to sell, no website or blog, no email list, no inside contacts, and no superpowers. I know Chris and I talked a little bit jokingly about that. The only superpower that I really do have that I believe, and I think all of you have it as well, is the ability to take action. But you have to get out there and you have to trust in yourself to just go out there and give it a shot. Now, there are ways that you can minimize the risk and all that stuff, which I'll be talking about, but I just want to let you guys know that it is going to require some work, but you have to actually get out there and consume the information, but you got to actually apply it. All right. And the 5 steps look like this: 1, product selection; 2, product sourcing; 3, the pre-launch phase; 4, the launch phase; and 5, the product promotion phase. Those are the 5 phases that we're going to be breaking down. Those all have to be done. Okay. When this process is going through the entire start to finish, A to Z, this is everything that it takes. Now, yes, there's things inside of each of these, but listen, let's break it down, let's chunk it down, and then we'll dig into each one of these. And that's what we're going to do here tonight. Now, I know some people say, well, wait a minute, don't you have to do all these big giveaways and you have to get a lot of reviews? And the thing is, you don't, if you do the right kind of product research. We're going to cover that tonight as well. I wanted to share this with you because this was an email I got from Amy. And Amy says, this was the email that she wrote, exactly what she wrote to me. No pay-per-click, no giveaways, no reviews, sold 30 units a day. I was blown away. I'm like, okay, tell me more. So she writes in there, I'm a long time dedicated listener. And she basically goes on to say that she's sold over 100 units of one product with no reviews, no giveaways, and no pay-per-click. So pretty crazy, right? But she did product research correctly. All right. This guy here just emailed me. This is literally just today inside of our private class. And he says, bam, product selection is key. Product 2 went live yesterday, 0 reviews. We just ran some pay-per-click and 16 sales in one day. Thanks, Scott Volker and Chris Schaefer. So basically right here, 16 units he moved, right? With no big launch, none of that stuff. Just found a good product, put it up, started driving pay-per-click to it. Okay. And we're going to show you pay-per-click in the phase 5. Okay. Now, my goal for you is to really give you a roadmap and framework to successfully launch your own product. Okay. I want to help you reach your goals in life, not just in business, but in life, because you got to be doing this for a reason. There are reasons why we do what we're doing. Now, this guy here, Ian, I had to highlight him real quick because this is really the main reason why I do what I do and why I share with what I share. He wrote this to me inside of our class, and he says, today my alarm went off at 5 a.m. to go to work. I was already up working at my new job, private labeling. I promptly deleted that alarm from my phone because last week was the last day at that job I've been doing for 16 years. I quit because I could, and I was tired of it. Working with my wife, we have replaced that income and then some. Keep going, everyone. It's a great feeling. It literally gives me goosebumps every time I read that because knowing that I had something to do with that, just a little small part, and he had to do the work, is pretty amazing. All right. But again, you have to have your why. Why are you doing it? All right. Now, if you stay to the end, we're going to give you guys some checklists. We're going to give you guys some downloads that can help you through this process. A lot of things that we're going to cover are going to be in these worksheets. All right. And this right here is the actual 5 phases broken down. And all of these we're going to be covering here tonight. Now, again, we're going to give you the launch plan checklist. We're going to give you some email follow-up so you can start getting reviews and feedback the right way without violating the terms of service. We're going to give you some sourcing tips and other downloads at the end. I need you to pay attention though. I want you guys to treat this as though you paid $100 to attend. Okay. I literally think that you could have spent $100. We could have charged $100 to attend this because I believe it's that valuable. I believe it's a lot more valuable. But when you spend money to attend something, you usually pay more attention. So I want you to tune everything out right now. Give me 60 minutes of your time right now. Okay. And just pay attention. Turn your phones down, your Skype, any of that stuff. Okay. Just pay attention. You owe it to yourself. Now, I want to welcome Chris Schaefer. If you guys are coming on late, he's going to be manning the chat, but he's also a good friend of mine. He's an Amazon seller. He's a business consultant, just an all-around great guy. He knows a lot about this business and a lot of other businesses. And I just want to thank him for being with us again tonight. But he's going to be there for live Q&A at the end as well. Him and I love talking about this stuff. This was us in Texas. We were there at an unofficial meetup, and we just sat there for 8 hours talking about this business and sharing ideas and tips. We did another one at our Breakthrough Live event in Denver. And we had a mastermind session there at dinner. We just love this stuff if you couldn't tell. We just get pretty excited and pretty pumped up. But bottom line is, guys, I had to share this picture. I'm just a regular guy that decided to try this Amazon business. Literally. I mean, if I didn't try this business, I wouldn't be here with you today because I wouldn't have known the power of it and I wouldn't have gotten my results. But that was me when I was about, I think 22, 23 years old. And I'm 44 now. So it was quite a few years ago. Had a nice little mustache going there too, by the way. It was terrible. Look at that thing. All right. So what makes this different? Well, I've done this myself for one. This is 6 months after I started. I moved 6,300 units, sold $120,000 in revenue. And again, that was a validation point for me. I was like, wow, this thing actually can work. And I didn't really know 100% what I was doing. I'm going to be able to show you more of a detailed path. The 12-month report, which really proved it to me, was after the first 12 months, we did $306,000 in revenue, 17,000 units we moved. And this was only with 3 SKUs. So pretty crazy. And again, another validation point. But the other thing is I've helped other people, not just myself. A lot of people say, well, it worked for you. It won't work for others. I've shared it with probably now close to 1,000 or more people, probably more. But these are just a handful. Like Jamie, Alan, Bill, Melissa, Andy, Rich, like they've all shared their story with me, and I help them choose their products and get them launched. And they're all doing over $10,000 per month right now and more. I'm not sharing this to brag about this. I'm really sharing it with you to let you know that it doesn't have to be someone special. You just have to go out there and apply what you learn and then see how it reacts. That's really what you have to do. Jared, he emailed me this just not that long ago. He had no product launched at our Denver event. We had a Denver event. We did a full day session there, and he left there, or he came there confused and didn't know really where he was going to go. But then he had a clear path after we left, and he went on to do really good things. And I actually just talked to him the other day, and he's doing fantastic. But this stuff here gets me really, really jacked up. Albert, he emailed me this after the fourth quarter, and he said, Scott, I've been a longtime fan for a whole year. Thanks to you. I did 175K in December. Smiley face. Yeah, it's a pretty good time to smile if you're doing 175K. But again, I just want to show you that you have to just get out there and do this stuff. This stuff can work, but you have to actually apply it. Now, my story real quick, and I think you guys all have a story and you guys all have your own why, and I think you have to understand that you need that why. But my why is my family. I really want to spend as much time with my family. I want the lifestyle and the freedom of an online business. And it just happens that Amazon is one of those businesses. I say one of them because I have other businesses, but that is one of those. My beautiful wife, Lisa, of 22 years, my 3 beautiful children, actually scratch that, my 4 beautiful children, my dog, Brody, who's part of our family. I mean, I've been to all my son's basketball games. I've coached my son in baseball all the way through up till he was 16, 17 years old. My daughters, I've been at all the recitals. I've been at all the volleyball games, all of that stuff. Never missed any of that stuff because I chose to really build my lifestyle business around that. And I think you guys need to understand that, yes, I can show you the way, but you have to have that why, because if you don't have the why, you're not going to push through when things get tough. Things will get tough. I'm going to tell you that right now. And if anyone's telling you that it's not, they're lying to you. All right. There are going to be ups and downs, but you're going to be able to get through those. Okay. So I just want to be very clear, but you have to know your why. If all you do is walk away tonight with understanding how to figure out your why, you'll be, I'm telling you, 100 miles ahead of everyone else. I had to share this. This is me and Brody in the morning reading our emails. I'm telling you, this dog could launch a product if he could speak and if he could type, but he can't. But he's heard so much about this business just from listening to my podcast on a daily basis. My business journey looks like this, guys. Again, I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but I just want to let you guys know. I mean, I come from being a construction worker back when I graduated from high school. I never went to college. I was in my father's business for probably close to 11 years, grew that into a 2 million plus year business in revenue in a brick and mortar. So not an online business. I learned a lot about business. That was me up on a roof there. Actually, that was a roof that I was building on my own personal house. I did that on the side when I was working 60 plus hours a week, and then I would come home and I would build that house. And then there I am up in the trusses. My father was down there in the window. But again, we went out there and we worked hard. I mean, I was brought up in a family that told us that, you know what, to get ahead in life, you got to work hard, which is true in some aspects, but you can also find ways to make it easier by following other people that have already been there. Then I went on to start my own photography business with my wife. And that was her idea, and it got me out of doing construction. And then we grew that into a 6-figure business. And then I started teaching that online as far as how to edit photo, using Photoshop, and how to maybe start your own photography business and all of that stuff. I did selling products on eBay. We've done all of that stuff using the skill set that I learned through the years. And then Amazon FBA, that came on when I decided to give this thing a try. And that's why we're here tonight. But bottom line is, guys, I love to help and teach people. If I'm at a barbecue, at a friend's barbecue, or even just at people that I just met, usually we'll start talking about this and I just light up and I'm just off in the corner talking about this stuff. I just love doing it. I'm so thankful that you guys showed up tonight because I want to share it with you tonight. Now, why the podcast? Now, some of you may or may not know that I have a podcast. Maybe Chris has already asked this, but if he hasn't, let me know if you're a podcast listener inside of the chat. I just want to know, I want to see how many of you guys are podcast listeners. But my mission is really to help as many people as I can start their own online business. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to share my results through the podcast. It allowed me to connect with people, also connect with other people that were more successful than I am, so I can learn. I'm always learning, guys. I'll never stop learning. That's what I want to do. And then being able to get people that say, Scott, you've helped me, just like I shared with you. I mean, that is, to me, the ultimate. The ultimate is to get those, those emails or those messages. And then being able to be up there with some of the people that I look up to, like Pat Flynn, who I was just recently on his show, and he was actually a guest on my show. Ryan Daniel Moran, Steve Chu from My Wife Quit Her Job. Like, they're all friends of mine now, which is really cool because I never was before I started this business. Now, helping others get results to me is the ultimate payoff, and I truly mean that. And that's the podcast. That's one of the main reasons why I started the podcast. And it's also helped me just make connections, but then also learn. I'll learn a ton. I learn every single day. Now, who is this not for? Well, anyone who's looking for quick money and doesn't want to put in the work, someone who's in search of that next shiny object or silver bullet, well, I'm here to tell you, there isn't one. Okay. Anyone that's showing you those shiny cars and saying, oh, get this stuff overnight, or look at, I went from this to this. Like, usually it's the BS meter, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but that's just how I think about it. Like, I don't want to see all the flashy cars and stuff like that. That to me already shows me like, I don't know. You know what I mean? It sounds too good to be true, right? I want to let you know that this is a good business model, but there are going to be ups and downs. A little disclaimer. Okay. I have to say this because I can't say what you're going to do or anyone's going to do. Results are not typical. Okay. I'm going to walk you through specific steps and systems that are earning me money right now. Okay. But my results are certainly not typical. Okay. Because the average person who attends any training gets zero results because a lot of times they don't do anything with it. Okay. They just don't. It's sad, but it's true. Now I'm going to show you, and I'm glad to show you exactly what's working for me for free here tonight. Okay. But this is not a get rich quick type thing. Okay. It is going to require some work. I think I've said that enough now, so you guys understand that, right? Now, who is this business for? Well, anyone who's looking to supplement their current income or go full time and work 100% from home, it's a great business model. If you want to make your own hours and spend more time with your family, like I did, and like I still do, this is for you. Okay. Now, I've made mistakes and I've learned how to avoid most of them. I should put a little asterisk there. Most of them. You'll always have new ones come up that you're going to learn. But you're going to kind of get the cheat and get the easy way by me sharing with you through the journey that I've already went on and other people that I'm helping on a regular basis. It's a great way to jump into this e-commerce world. It really, truly is. And I just had to show this picture anyway, because it reminds me of my kids when they were young. We'd stay at the motel and they'd want to jump in the pool for first thing. So love this picture. Makes me smile. Hope it makes you smile. Quick question though. I want you guys to play along. I want this to be interactive. I want you guys to use the chat. That's what it's there for. But I want to ask you guys a question. I want you to get real for a minute. I want you to imagine having your first product picked and selling $100 per day on Amazon.com. Just $100 per day. Okay? Like, what's it going to take to get to $100 per day? Well, I'm going to share that with you. But what would that do? Like, ask yourself that. A lot of times we don't ask ourselves the right questions. This is a question to ask yourself. Okay? So what would an extra $100 per day or $3,000 a month do for you right now? In your life right now, where you are, what would it do? Okay. Let us know in the chat. I want to know. I want to see that. I want you guys to play along. This is interactive. I want you to imagine now, take it a step further, that you have the second and third product picked and they're selling $100 per day. Okay. And you're doing that on Amazon, just Amazon. We're not even talking external right now, any other forms of, platforms or anything like that. So that's technically $300 per day. And it's $9,000 per month. Okay. What would that do for you? Okay. So just go ahead, think about that for a minute. Let us know in the chat. Put it in there. I want to see exactly what this will do for you personally. Everyone has their own thing it'll do for them. Okay. I want to see that. Okay. Get real with it right now, because I'm telling you, this is what will drive you. And if I can show you a path that can get you there, it's going to make that a lot easier. Okay. There's something I call the 10 by 10 by 1 strategy. I'm going to share that with you. And it's all based off of the $100 per day. Okay. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So Chris, I'm about ready to dive in. Had to throw another beautiful picture here because I love a dog jumping into a pool like this. Love palm trees. I love that blue sky and the water. So Chris, are we ready to rock and roll?
I think we are. And Scott, I've said it before, but I love when you ask that question because I love just seeing the variety of answers that come in. Everything from, I could quit my job to I could spend more time with my family. That seems to be a really big one. And that, that's something that we kind of take for granted, I think, Scott, especially.
Totally.
If you have been working from home or you do work for yourself, it's the ability to go do those things whenever you want, to like paying my mortgage. Let me invest in even more products, buy more beer, right? It just depends on what you want to do with it, but it gives you that freedom to do any of those things if you want to do that. So I'm about ready to dive right in, Scott. Are you?
I am ready. Yes, I am.
Right.
I just took a nice little drink of water, and I think I'm ready. What's that?
You get a big swig?
A big swig. Yes. All right. So let's rock and roll here. So I want you guys to stay to the end because we're going to do live Q&A. If you're here live, which I hope you are, we are live. If you're watching this on a replay, if there is a replay, then it won't be live. But right now it's 9:22 p.m. Eastern time, and we are live, and we are going to be doing some live Q&A. So if you have questions, put them in the chat. We will be answering them during each phase, but then we'll also save a lot of them for the end because we want to dig really deep into some of those questions. We're going to give you guys checklists and templates to download. We're going to give you details on how you can win a 30-minute coaching call with me, an Amazon $50 gift card, and a free license to Jungle Scout, which is a research tool. We're also going to be talking a little bit about our additional training inside of our private label classroom, okay? And I'll be sharing that with you at the end. Just want to let you guys know. I'm going to give you guys a little sneak peek on that if you're interested. But all of this is going to be covered here in the next 60 minutes. Now, to get things really moving here and to kind of get people up to speed, depending on if you've ever even been exposed to this business model. A lot of you probably have, but if you haven't, I'm going to get you caught up in record time. All right. So what is Amazon FBA? Really quickly, fulfilled by Amazon. You ship product to them. Amazon picks and packs products. They ship to your customer. They handle customer service. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Why FBA is the bomb? Well, similar to what I just said, you don't need to store the inventory. They handle the shipping. They handle refunds and service, and there's no need to hire employees. Take it from someone that's dealt with employees. I've ran employees before. I've had them work for me. Great teams I've built, but there's a lot of headaches that go with that. Their problems are your problems. Nothing wrong with that, but Amazon takes care of all of that. When you sell something, their employees do the work for you, and you only pay for when they do the work. It's pretty awesome. Now, the basic FBA flow looks like this. Ship products to Amazon, customer buys product, Amazon packs and ships, you get paid. That's the flow, okay? Pretty awesome as well. Now, there's three types of products that we can source, okay? There's wholesale, there's retail arbitrage, there's online arbitrage, and there's private labeling. Now, there's nothing wrong with any of these other than a couple of them, 1 and 2, have a couple drawbacks, all right? Now, all of these will work. Let me be very clear. If you find a good wholesaler, you can sell product on Amazon, okay? If you find good products to retail arb and or do online arbitrage, totally can work, okay? I have students right now in another class we call the 1K Fast Track that are doing really well, okay? But private labeling takes it to the next level, and I'm going to explain why. There's some problems, like I said, with 1 and 2, and that is you're usually selling name brands. You don't own the product. Anyone can sell that same UPC. There's nothing stopping them. You're sharing the buy box, okay? So you're sharing the amount of people that are coming to that listing. You're competing on price usually, which we call that the race to the bottom. And then you're limited on the inventory, okay? And in this example, if you're doing retail arbitrage, the only limit, or I guess the struggle is that you find product and it sells really fast, and then all of a sudden you run out, and guess what? You don't have any more of that product. So now you got to go find more product of something else and see if that's going to sell. So you're always going out there trying to find the new product. Again, it can work, and it does work, but it requires more work as far as on an ongoing basis, okay? With private labeling, you own the product. You're the manufacturer. You can customize the product. You can customize the packaging. You own the buy box. You control the inventory. So if you find something that sells, you have 250 units and it sells out, guess what? You order another 250, okay? Because you're the manufacturer, because you found the manufacturer. You're the sourcing of that product now, okay? This is the closest thing to a digital product that I've ever found, and I've sold both, okay? So just be very clear here. This is a great business model for anyone that wants to get started in this online space, okay? Now, there are some reasons why people fail, and I think I should highlight these really quickly. We are going to be going over a lot of these to help you not fall into these, but I just wanted to kind of highlight these real quick. Number 1 is choosing the wrong product. 2, struggling to find the right supplier. 3, not launching and listing properly. 4, poor listing optimization. 5, struggling to rank for keywords. 6, running poor promotions and wasting money. 7, not using Amazon pay-per-click correctly. 8, failure to test and tweak. And then 9, and this is a big one, overcomplicating the process. People want to jump way ahead rather than staying in the lane that they're in, which is if you're in product research phase, stay there. Don't get out of there until you've gotten through that phase, okay? You're going to hear me say that over and over and over again, okay? Do not overcomplicate the process. People give up. Way too easy, way too easy. So to me, if the why is there, if your why is so strong, you're going to fight through. If it's not that strong, you're going to give up. It's that simple. 97% of the people who quit too soon are employed by the 3% that never gave up. Those 3% probably have a bigger why. Just saying. Probably do. Okay. That's a writer downer. You might want to remember that one. The 5-step process, again, that we're going to cover are right here. Again, we've chunked it down. We're going to dive deep into each one of these. Now, I'm about ready to get started. Chris, is everything still cool in the chat? We ready to dig into phase one?
Let's do it. We got a whole bunch of people still rolling in, and we're good to go.
All right, cool. Let's rock and roll. So, guys, I told you guys I'm going to give you guys things that you can literally do today, tomorrow, the next day, and here we go. Number one, in this phase, product selection phase, one of the most important parts of this process. Let me say that again. One of the most important parts of this process. All right? Do not get overwhelmed here. I'm going to give you the freedom to just let your mind roam, and I'm going to give you some exercises to let it roam where you didn't think it would roam. Okay? So number one is the daily touch list. And it's funny because I get some of my students that say, Scott, it's kind of silly. And then they go back to it and they actually find their product by using the daily touch list. All right. So don't discount this exercise. And here's how it looks. Get a pad of paper, a pen, put it by your nightstand. And the minute you get up in the morning, I want you to write down every single thing that you touch on a daily basis for that entire day. Do that 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Do that. You're going to be blown away at what you touch. Littlest thing, write it down. Okay. That can lead into a market that you didn't even know that you were even exposed to. Okay. Browse eBay. eBay is a search engine for buyers, just like Amazon. Okay. So use eBay as a tool to get ideas and just brainstorm. Let yourself roam. Browse Amazon. Obviously, that's where we're going to go as well. But I'm going to show you how we can literally use Amazon as our tool of choice. So we can go ahead and find products that Amazon is saying you should probably sell this product because there's a lot of people that are interested in it. And also they're interested in these other things. I'm going to show you how we can almost develop a product line by letting Amazon tell us what we should sell. Okay, it's pretty awesome. QVC HSN TV, again, a search engine on their website that has a whole bunch of products that people are interested in buying. They have a TV network that people buy products. Who would have thought that you'd have a TV show where you sell products on a 24/7 network? Crazy. Late night infomercials. I have a good buddy of mine who found a product that was a companion product to the infomercial product and went on to do really, really well. Listening to conversations is another big one. We don't really listen that well. I want you guys to be good listeners. Pay attention. If you're standing in line at the supermarket, listen to what people are talking about. If you're at the barbecue, listen to what people are talking about. If you're in the bank, if you're in just maybe you're sitting there watching your kids at sports and you hear another conversation, start to listen to other people's conversations. You'll be blown away at what you can discover. Okay. It's really, really powerful. Magazines and magazine ads. Magazines are built for a market. I don't want you guys to just think about a product. I want you guys to think about a market, because if you can think about this as we're finding a market that wants to buy products and we serve products to that market, that's how it works, okay? A magazine is that. A magazine is created for a market. But guess what? People pay money to be in those magazines to be seen by that market. You could be a product inside of that magazine, or you can use those people's businesses to say, oh, these people must be making money because these products are being served to this market, right? Because they're paying money to be there. So you can get ideas that way. Department stores, same thing. It's all broken up into categories. Pay attention, go down different aisles, there's going to be different products that are being served to that market that you might not even have been aware of. So just definitely do that. Those are some exercises. Now, some more additional exercises here are more lists. I love lists, if you couldn't tell. A little yellow notepad works wonders, okay? Costs you probably about $5 for a pack of like 20. You want to write a list of your passions, your hobbies, your problems, okay? Now, maybe what you're going to do is go back in time. What were your passions, hobbies, and problems when you were a kid, maybe 13 years old? What are your kids' problems? Maybe you have kids at different ages. I have a 9-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 21-year-old all over the place, okay? My daughter's getting married. My son's into college. He's doing basketball. My other daughter just got into volleyball. Boom. A whole bunch of different things going on. Okay. So we have a whole bunch of different things we can do. The other thing is fast forward. What are your grandparents? What are your parents struggling with? What are their passions? What are your hobbies? My father just had a hip replacement. He's got different problems than I do. He has to go out and figure out, how to maybe have, rehabilitation of his hip. He's got different devices he has to purchase or different mechanisms. Okay. So just pay attention to your surroundings. You'll be amazed at what you can find. And you don't have to use a tool for this exercise. Okay. Now, eBay, just wanted to highlight that. They really make it beautiful here, where you can just go in here. You can look at all of the different categories. The categories are all inside of a main market, like sporting goods. And then you have outdoor sports, team sports, exercise, golf, all that stuff, toys and hobbies, all that. They give you everything right on the surface. And then you can start to drill down. And you're going to hear me talk about drilling down here in a minute. But right here, Amazon, this is where you want to go, especially because this is where we're going to be selling initially. But a lot of people go here. This is a mistake, I think. People go here and they just stay on this page and they try to find something that's a top seller in the top 100, and they try to sell that product, and they wonder why it doesn't work because there's too much competition. We're only trying to sell $100 a day, not $10,000 a day on one product. Everyone wants to go after that. We want to go after the products that are only selling 10 units a day at maybe $10 profit each. Okay. And that's where we're going to come into the 10 by 10 by 1 in a minute. But what we want to do here is start to drill down. And that's what you're going to hear me talk about quite a bit here tonight. Now, drilling down means this. We're going to start here. We can look at a category or all the different categories, and then we can scroll down and go, oh, home and kitchen. I had some stuff on my list that was in home and kitchen. Cool. Let's go ahead and click on that. Now from there, I can drill down another level and I can go into this subcategories of home and kitchen, and I can scroll down a little bit further and I can go, oh, look at bath. Okay. Well, I had some stuff on my list that was in bath. Okay. And then from there, I can go, oh, in bathroom accessories, I just drilled down another layer. So now I'm two levels deep from the main category. And now I've got cosmetic organizers. Well, maybe my wife had that on her list. And I said, okay, let's go ahead and see what cosmetic organizer. So remember, just pay attention here. Cosmetic organizer is the thing that I'm looking at right now. Watch how it's going to take a turn here in a minute. Okay. So now let's say I land on this page and I see all of the acrylic compact organizers, okay, or cosmetic organizers. And then I go, oh, related searches, drawer organizer, eyeshadow organizer, makeup organizer. Those weren't on my list, by the way. But now Amazon is feeding me with these different product ideas. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think that Amazon just randomly put them there at the related searches? No. They put them there because they have a ton of data of different searches and different purchases from people that have searched their site. Okay. So they're putting them there because they're popular and they're related. So pay attention to that. Okay. We've just added 3 more products to our list by going and looking up compact organizer. Okay. So really, really powerful stuff. Now here, let's say that we go into the search bar. A lot of people search using the search bar. They're not going to just go into categories like we just did. Let's say I take that same thing and I go, okay, there's a compact organizer on my list. I'm going to type in compact organizer in the search field. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit the space bar and whoa, look what happened. I get this drop down list that comes up in popular searches. So these are keywords. Now these are keywords. This is what we call keywords in this Amazon space. These are words that people are typing into this search bar. Amazon is a search engine, just like Google is, just like Bing is, just like Yahoo is, okay? But this is for people that are buying products. Big difference, okay? So here we've got compact organizer planner, compact organizer binder, compact organizer travel, etc. Okay? So remember, going back, we started with a compact organizer. Right now, I've got planner, binder, travel, acrylic, agenda, bin. I've got all of those things added to the end that now I've got a whole nother line of products. All started with compact organizer. Okay. Now, again, guys, I'm not using a tool. I'm using Amazon. I'm using eBay. I'm using lists that I created. Okay. Don't overcomplicate this. Okay. Really do not overcomplicate this. Another idea tip is look at the top rated products. Amazon is, again, they're surrounding us with products that relate to what we just looked for. And they're not doing it by accident. They're doing it because they've got data. Let's use the data to help us. They're acting as though we're a buyer. We're technically a seller. So we're kind of spying in a sense. Okay. So a huge tip here. Okay. Top rated products, most wished for products, hot new releases. Pay attention to that stuff. Another idea tip, customers who viewed this item also viewed, let me give you an example. Acrylic lipstick organizer, acrylic lip gloss organizer, acrylic eyeshadow organizer, acrylic paint pot cream shadow organizer, acrylic eye lip liner organizer. 5 different products that came from a compact organizer. Okay. So you know that lipstick is not going to fit into an eyeshadow. You got to have 2 different cases, right? So again, we just exposed a product line in literally 1 click, because when I was searching for compact organizer, it said customer viewed this item, also viewed, boom, 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 boom. Okay. So just understand this is how you can really start to mine for these different products and not just look at what everyone else is looking at. Now, the next step is looking at the data. Okay. Now that we've got some good ideas of some products that we think that we might want to try to sell in a certain market, Now we got to look at the data. So there's some metrics and criteria that I use. Again, this is not set in stone. You don't have to abide by this. You can go out of this range. This is just something to go by. I like to find products that I can price for $19 to $45. Okay. Now, if it can be bundled, if you can find something that sells for $9.99, but you can sell a 3-pack and you can get that to $19.95, that might work. Okay. Lightweight, less than 2 pounds. The only reason why I say that is because it's easier to ship in the beginning. So you don't have to do any freight forwarding. You don't have to do any sea shipping. It's going to make the process easier. You guys like easy, right? Easier. Well, that's what we want to do here. We want to cut down any barriers that could get you hung up to where you go, I give up. I want to get you to the start line, but then I want to get you to the finish line. Okay. So lightweight, less than 2 pounds, going to make it easier. Your BSR, your bestseller rank, this is going to range pretty wide, but I'm going to give you just kind of like a rule of thumb. In the more popular markets or categories like beauty or home and kitchen or sports and outdoors, 6,000 to 10,000 BSR. BSR is a bestseller rank. It's a rank that Amazon gives that listing. And it basically it's gauged by the amount of sales that are running through that. Now this changes throughout the year, okay, and throughout the day actually. But throughout the year, different times of the year, fourth quarter will be a lot busier, so this BSR will change really, drastically. But generally 6,000, 10,000 BSR is a good BSR because you know that they're probably selling at least 10 units a day. Reviews are another thing that I look at because if I can find products that are selling well and they have low reviews, 200 or less, it's going to be easier for me to launch that product without having to do any big giveaway or any big promotion. Okay. And then the listing quality, that's another thing that we look at because then if we can find a listing that's not optimized, which I'm going to show you how to optimize a listing here soon. But if we can find a listing that's not optimized, but still selling well, we can do a better job, right? We can optimize it and probably compete with them and probably do better. So again, we just want to see where there's some weaknesses and then we can do a better job. My goal is to launch products that can sell 10 to 20 units per day. Like that's the goal. Not 100 units a day. That's great. I've done it. I've had products that have done that, and then they settle in at maybe 50 a day or maybe 20 a day. That's okay. But I always start with 10 to 20. I don't go after the ones that I think I'm going to be able to sell 100 because the competition is really, really high. Okay. It's going to be harder. Now the math on the 10 by 10 by 1 strategy looks like this. Okay. Shooting for $10 profit after all expenses per unit. That's the goal. Okay. And this is how it would look. This is where the 10 by 10 by 1 comes in. 10 sales at $10 profit each for one product equals $100 per day. Okay. So let's kind of do that backwards. One product, you sell 10 a day, and each product has a $10 profit margin. You're going to make $100 per day. Okay. Now, doesn't that seem easier than saying, go on out and try to make $3,000 a month? Like, how are you going to make it happen? You're going to break it down. You guys can see I like chunking things down. This is another way to chunk it down. What's the goal? If the goal is $3,000 a month on one product, this is the math. Okay. Now, it doesn't have to be set in stone. If you find something that sells 10 a day and $8 profit, well, guess what? It's $80 profit a day. Oh, that stinks, right? So again, you just have to look at this and break it down and just kind of reverse it back. That's how I always do things. I just reverse it back to like the main thing, and then we kind of go backwards. If we want to grow this, okay, 5 products in just one product line, that's $500 per day if we follow this 10 by 10 by 1 strategy. And to kind of do the math quickly for you, 365 days a year is $182,500 profit, or $15,208 per month. Okay, a lot of money for just following a 10 by 10 by 1 strategy. Now, does that mean it's going to work 100% like that? No, probably not. But at least you have some framework and a goal in mind to shoot for. Now, let's look at a listing as far as, like I was saying, I look at a listing to say, okay, how can I do better and what are all the numbers and where can I see all of this stuff? Well, they expose everything for us. Amazon gives everything on the surface because they're giving it to their customer, right? So the reviews are there, your price is there, your product dimensions are there, and your Amazon bestseller rank is there. The bestseller rank is saying, like, in beauty, it's ranked 3,984. Well, let me just tell you, in beauty, that's really, really good. Really good. Okay, it's selling more than 10 a day. That's the only number that we're concerned with. We're not concerned with all the sub categories. We're concerned with the top level category, and that is beauty in this case. Okay, this is listed in beauty, so 3,984. Now, this is exactly how I did it in the beginning. I took a spreadsheet. I took all of the products that I was tracking of that one type of product. Let's say it was a wine aerator. I would use the link or the ASIN to track it. And then I would take the BSR, the bestseller rank. I would record that. I would take the reviews. I would record those, the price, and then the listing quality. That's just me giving it my own score. So I would look at the different elements. There's like 4 or 5 different elements. And I would say, okay, the images are terrible, but it's still selling 10 a day. I can do a better job. I'd give it -1. So I'd give it a 4. And then I would write next to that 4, images need to be improved. Okay. So just to give you an idea, this, again, you can do whatever you want there. That's just what I'm doing. And it allows me to see if I can make improvements and then, do a better job. We're going to give you a download of a spreadsheet nicer than this. I just want to show you like the bare bones. Like this is what I did for my first product, but we're going to give you a really nice spreadsheet that also give you some calculating fields and stuff like that. So that we're going to give you on the way out. But the metrics and criteria, again, these are not set in stone. These are just something to kind of use as a framework. But again, if the numbers make sense, if the profit margin is there for you, go for it. Okay. Now you're going to repeat this for 10 to 20 products. This is going to be the most difficult stage and it's going to take time. Okay. Yes, I said that. It's going to take time. You're going to spend the time here to dig deep. This is, like I said, one of the most important parts of this process. Okay. So definitely spend the time and dig deep. Okay. That means go below the surface. Okay. Chris, do we have any quick questions before we move on to phase 2?
We do have a couple, Scott, and most of them are along the lines of, okay, I get that you use 10 by 10 by 1, but do I have to do that? The answer is no. I mean, you can feel free to tweak. And somebody jokingly earlier said, I have like 30 products, so I'm doing like 10 by 1.5 by 1, right? And that's fine if that's what you're doing. 10 by 10 by 1 is what both Scott and I actually independently used, which was kind of weird. We had very similar criteria when we first started talking about this, but it works out. And the reason, the kind of crucial thing there is that like $10 profit, especially when you're first starting out. And Scott, feel free to disagree with me there. If you end up selling 8, oh well, right? If you end up selling 10, great. But having that extra profit margin and not saying, I'm looking for a product that is only going to make me $3 to $4 if everything goes well, is really essential. And so having that extra margin is probably the thing that I wouldn't flex very much on there. If it's going to sell 8 and you're okay with that, that's fine. Right. But if you're not going to have more than a few dollars margin, it becomes very, very difficult. As you start to learn and grow, you can start to do more of those kinds of lower margin, higher volume types of products.
Sure.
Scott, I actually think that was about it for this. We have a couple other ones, but we'll answer them as we go through the content here tonight.
All right, cool. Let's jump into sourcing your product, okay? Because let's say that we did find a handful of products. We're ready. We want to go ahead and start seeing now, okay, what can we source this for and how can we source it? So I'm going to share with you AliExpress and Alibaba. Those are probably the 2 main sites that I would start with. Now, I just want to say you're starting here, but that doesn't mean that's where you're going to end up. This is where you're going to establish a relationship with a supplier. And then from there, you can go ahead and take that relationship to the next level and start to use their catalogs to get new products and all that fun stuff. But again, we don't have a ton of time to spend on this tonight, but I just want to walk you through kind of how this looks. AliExpress is the easiest way to test products because you can go here, you can search for your product, you can find something that's generic enough to where you don't have to do a ton of customization at all. And a lot of times you can't anyways. And then you put product up there and you see if it sells. Now, if it sells without you customizing it, it'll probably sell really well once you start to customize it. But it's a great way to test a low volume amount and also test and see if it's going to even sell. Even if your margin isn't the $10, maybe it's only $5 because you're paying more for it, you're able to launch faster and test more products quickly, okay? And it's less risky, right? You don't have to go and say, I'm going to just go all in on this product and buy 1,000 units. You're going to buy maybe 10 units or 20 units or 100 units, whatever you want. And then this way here, you can test them pretty quickly. But again, AliExpress is super simple. You can just go there, type in your keyword, find something that you want to look for. Like here, I've got a 24 lipstick holder display case, $3.98. I can order one of those if I want, or I can order 20 or 100 and then just hit buy now, use my credit card, and it's going to get shipped. And then from there, I can put it in a bag. I can put it in a box. I can do whatever I want with it once I get it. I can customize it that way, buy boxes on Uline or even eBay or whatever, and then just make it a little bit nicer and then put your sticker on it and then send it in. Okay. And then test it. And that's actually what Amy has done and a few other people that I know have done. And that's how they test and validate before they actually go and source a product from scratch. This guy here, Chris Gaston, I met him in Texas at our unofficial meetup. And he shared that story with me that he did a $500 challenge to himself. And he said, I'm going to give myself $500 to try and test a product. And he did that. And he ordered 50 units. And he sold them within a week and a half, and he validated it, and then he ordered 1,000 more. So that's how he was able to test it without going all in. And it worked for him. Again, Amy, I showed her in the beginning, she did this exact same thing. And this is kind of what she does. She goes out there, she finds these products, she puts them up there, maybe 100, 150 of them. And literally, if they sell without her doing anything, it's a pretty good sign. Now, me personally, I'd throw a little bit of ad money at it, pay-per-click, and if it sells, then I'm still good, because I know then if I get some reviews and if I get a better listing optimization, I'm going to do even better. But Alibaba, that's when you're going to go to the next step. And that means that you're going to be doing more customization. It's going to be more modifications. It's going to be more customizable order in that product. And the relationship is going to go a little bit deeper with your supplier. The one thing I do want to just kind of throw out there is I would definitely use these filters that they have built in Alibaba. So there's trade assurance and gold supplier. Those are a must, because then you know that they have a protection policy within Alibaba. So basically you're doing everything inside of Alibaba, and Alibaba then will, they'll go after them with a claim if there's an issue. Gold supplier, same thing. It's going to at least give you the more qualified or higher quality sourcing. So definitely I would use those. But again, Alibaba, super simple. I don't really look at the FOB or minimum order or supplyability or any of that stuff. I just hit contact supplier and start writing an email. Literally. And then that way there, I can at least get that conversation going, and then I can see if it's a good fit or not. And I can start getting some of the answers that I want to know, because this is really broad. Like $1 to $55 is the FOB price. Like, come on, like, how do I even know what it's going to cost me? So you want to know that. So just hit contact supplier and you're off to the races. Now, I'm going to give you guys a sourcing email template. This is, again, one of the downloads we're going to give you guys. I want to give you this because in the beginning, I made the mistake of just like throwing together a quick email. I'd send it off and then I'd be like, oh crap, I should have asked them this question, and I didn't. And then I had to wait another 12 hours because of 12 hours difference. And it just got to be really a long process. So I said, I'm going to compile all those questions that I was asking on a regular basis. I'll put them into one email, my first email, and at least I'll get a bulk of those answered. And then I can also see how they communicate back and forth with me. So we're going to give you that. That's another download that we're going to give you at the end of this workshop. Ordering samples, another hang up that a lot of people get. Scott, why do they want to charge me for samples? I might be giving them business. The key word is there, you might be giving them business. And the thing is, they're going to be shipping it to you, usually DHL, Air, or FedEx. It's going to cost them $30 to $50 to send that sample to you. So be willing to pay for it. Okay. Remember, this is a business. Okay. Now, the other thing you can do is you can contact them and say, okay, cool, I'll pay for the samples, $30 to $50. But I would like to maybe get a credit back if I decide to go with your company. And 9 out of 10 times they're going to say, okay. They just, again, they don't want to give out samples and have no chance of having your business. Keep it simple in the beginning, especially. Like I said, when you're testing, you're validating, keep it simple. Simple packaging. Use insert cards when you can. An insert card is just really, it can be a postcard that has some really nice graphic that you had created, maybe on 99 Designs or maybe Fiverr, or maybe a graphic designer that you know. Use air shipping when you can, especially in the beginning, because again, we want to speed up that process. Even if we're spending more in the beginning, I don't personally care, because I just want to get product in so I can test it. And then I can say, you know what, I'm going to go and ship by sea and I'll save $1 per unit now. So now even though I might be only making, $5 per unit, I know that in the end, if I buy more and if I also ship it by sea, I'm going to be able to save another $3 to $5. Well, now I'm at my $10 that I want to be. But in the beginning, I'm willing to sacrifice that. Your first shipment, you want at least sent to you if you can, or have a third-party inspection company go through it, because you do not want to send in faulty product into Amazon and then find out about it from your customers giving you negative reviews. You do not want that. So you want to be able to inspect the product yourself or have a third-party inspection company do that. And there's a few out there we can talk about at the end if you guys are interested, that I know are good and they're reputable. Sourcing your product, again, isn't that complicated, but it is going to take steps. It's going to take some work. Okay, so here are the steps again. I'm going to go through these really quickly. 1, search for products in Alibaba or AliExpress. 2, use filters to find the highest quality suppliers. 3, contact suppliers with specific questions. That's a very important step. 4, respond to suppliers that email you back. And then 5, order samples to test. Always buy samples. Always test the product. Do not skip that. 6, place your first order and wait. Again, that's probably one of the harder parts because you want to get it. You're anxious, right? Well, you still got work to do. I'm going to show you what you're going to be doing in step 7 here, which is working on the pre-launch phase. Okay. And the pre-launch is going to set you up so when you get the product, you're ready to launch and you're starting to get sales on day 1. So sourcing your product, again, the low risk way for testing products is this right here. I just wanted to share this with you because some people are like, well, Scott, I don't want to do an order of 1,000 units. I don't want to do an order of 500 units. I only want to start with like $500. Well, this is how you would do it. 1, search on AliExpress. 2, find the item and place a small order. 3, create an optimized listing. 4, turn on Amazon pay-per-click. And 5, reorder the product if it sells and you want to continue with it. Okay. So that's the low risk way for testing products. Chris, do we have any quick questions on the sourcing?
We do have a few. The first one that I saw was from Mohammed. He said, hang on a second. What's the insert card for? Guys, the insert card is something that's optional, just in case you missed him kind of glancing over that. The reason that Scott and I use insert cards sometimes is to be able to capture that customer information. It's like a mini flyer, like Chosy just said. You kind of put it in there and you say, if you want a chance to win this thing, or if you want your free ebook, go here, give us your email address. That lets us start building a customer list without having to do anything else other than selling some additional products. Jim says, if I'm just grabbing something and testing with no differentiation at all from the other 10,000 listings, how do I get the sale? And Jim, the answer is the only time that you would be testing that market with no differentiation at all is if you're not sure if the product is going to sell. And then obviously it is going to come down to your images and your ad copy and all of those kinds of things. If you can squeak in with no differentiation and still make sales, then you're golden when you roll out that better product. And Alan says, do you know any inspection companies that you recommend, Scott?
Yeah, there is. Actually, Guided Imports. I actually have a resources page on the website on theamazingseller.com/resources, or just go to theamazingseller.com and up at the top, you'll see a resources page. There's actually a product validation service they have there, and they also have an inspection service there as well. Pretty affordable too. I think it's under $300. And there's a discount code there on my website if you wanted to use them. But yeah, just don't overcomplicate it. That would be my biggest thing. You definitely want to go through these steps, but don't overcomplicate it. Don't try to get fancy in the beginning. It's what's the MVP, right? Minimal viable product.
Exactly. And Scott, before we move on to the next phase, I wanted to let you know that Jared is in the house. He said, love popping back in, brings back memories, followed this to a T. So
nice.
He's hanging out with us here tonight. And I'm sure he's probably rocking his TAS t-shirt.
Yeah, I actually, yeah, I mean, I just had a conversation with Jared. He's going to be coming back on the podcast, and just an awesome guy. And yeah, I mean, he did follow everything to the T, and he is rocking it right now. And yeah, he was the screenshot that we shared earlier that had $100,000 month, which was just insane. So yeah, so glad to have you in the house, Jared. And he's one of our PLC students, and he's also a person that's been to 2 of our live events, which is pretty awesome. So cool. All right, let's jump into the pre-launch, Chris, if you don't mind. I want to get rocking and rolling. I don't want to run out of time so we can do the live Q&A. But the pre-launch phase is this right here, guys. Okay, you need to do this phase here. You need to do the pre-launch. Okay. You're not going to be waiting for your product now and just then once you get your product doing this. You want to have this done beforehand. Okay. So you want to create your listing. Okay. And your listing is going to consist of high quality images. Now, if you don't have high quality images right out of the gate, it's okay. Get something in there so we can build out the listing. Right now, we just want to build out the listing. I don't care if you have your product, your sample, and you take a picture of that with your iPhone. Just get a picture in there right now. Eventually, when you get your product, then we'll replace them with high quality. But in the end, we want high quality images. The next thing we want to do is create a title for our listing. Okay. And I say strong title, meaning we want keywords in there. And keywords is just a fancy word for keywords, for having a word in there that people are searching for. So if someone is searching for a stainless steel garlic press, that is your keyword. Okay. So we would definitely want to make sure that those main keywords are in that title. And a good way to find the main keywords is look at your competitors. What are they using? Don't use a brand name of theirs. You want to use the generic one, like stainless steel garlic press or long handle stainless steel garlic press, whatever. You want to use those in there. You want to use your bullet points or add your bullet points, at least 5. You want to put the benefits and the features in there. Again, if you don't know how to create those, look at some really good selling products and see how they're doing their benefits and features. You can model what other people are doing. You don't have to copy them. You just model what they're doing. And then description, details, benefits, and the call to action. So your description is just really it's more information or kind of about your bullet points, but just in more detail. And then you want to, again, talk about the benefits and the features. A lot of people just drive with the features and they forget about the benefits. What's the benefits of the product? Well, the garlic press is easy to use. it's easy on your hands or won't give you calluses or whatever the complaints are, yours is better because you've solved that problem, because yours has a better handle, whatever. That's the benefit, okay? The call to action, CTA, is basically something like, hey, if you're ready to start pressing garlic, in your new meals for this holiday season, go ahead and click the buy now button above, something like that. Probably better than that, but you get what I'm saying. You want to tell them what to do next once they get done reading the description. Listing optimization plus sales equals keyword ranking. So let me talk about this. If you do not do listing optimization, it's going to be really, really hard to get seen. And what I mean by that is Amazon doesn't know what your product is about. Think about when you create your listing, your title, your bullets, your description, you're telling Amazon what your product is about. So the listing optimization is that right there. If you have that dialed in and you get some sales, okay, and we'll talk about getting sales here shortly, then you're going to start to rank for keywords. So then when someone sits down at their computer and they go to the search field and they type in stainless steel garlic press, you might pop up. And guess what? You've got a good chance of making a sale if you pop up. If you don't get on that first page, it's going to be hard to make a sale, right? So that's what we need to understand. Listing optimization is extremely important. Sales are really important because that's going to also drive the keyword ranking, because it's telling Amazon this keyword was used, a sale was made. We should probably start to rank that listing and that product higher because people are buying it once they see it. That's how that works. So I kind of just explained it, but what is listing optimization? Well, this is what it looks like, kind of more of a visual. Your images, I can't stress this enough. And Jarrett, who's on here today, we talked about this in detail. His images is what he believes sells his product. Like really, he spends a lot of time. He invests in those pictures because they are so valuable in getting the sale. It's perceived value, guys. If the picture is out of focus, if it looks like it's amateur, an amateur photographer, it's going to look like it's not a good quality. So really take the time to make good images. Use lifestyle in your images, meaning use it with a model, use it with a prop, something like that. So images are really, really important. The one little tip here I'd give you, and this is coming from a photographer, you might not understand what this means. It doesn't matter. Just tell your photographer, make sure that your images are at least 1,500 pixels by 1,500 pixels wide. And what that does is it allows the picture to be able to be zoomed in on. So if someone hovers over with their mouse on the picture, it will zoom in on that picture. It'll give them more detail and people can see the product up close, like they would see it if they were actually there in person. Your title, again, acrylic compact organizer and beauty care holder. Those are there, again, for you to be able to optimize and to be able to be found by those keywords. Your bullet points, again, same thing, benefits, features, your description is down below that. And I really think that the images are one of the more important things, as well as filling in those right fields. Like the title is really important because that's what's going to get you found for those keywords. And then the bullets is also going to help you. But really the description is to tell Amazon what your product's about. Most people will not even get down that far in your description. It's really, really low as far as how that works. But images draw people in. The title and the bullets and the description helps you tell Amazon what you should be ranking for and what your listing is about, okay? So the pre-launch, the second part of the pre-launch is this right here. Take the time to build or find your launch list. Do some outreach. And what do I mean by that? Locate some deal sites. There's Fat Wallet, there's Slick Deals, there's other ones out there on the market as well. But find a deal site that people are on there looking for a deal, and then you can reach out to that site and say, I've got 25 units that I want to give a discount on my product. We're not saying that you're going to exchange it for a review. I'm not saying that at all. I would not do that. Okay, that's a no-no. You want to go to deal sites because deal sites are not designed for Amazon reviewers. Okay, probably about 6 months ago, review clubs, that was a thing. Okay, nowadays, no. You don't want to go to those groups, okay? Your interest lists, these are lists of people or different influencers in your market that you're going to build a list of. Now, that could be your own email list, that could be your own Instagram, or it could be other people's Instagrams or other people's YouTubes. Take this time to reach out to people that are in your market that could use your product or promote your product for you, whether that's with a giveaway, whether that's with a promotion, and maybe even pay for an ad spot on their blog or on their website or on their YouTube channel. This is the time to do this outreach, Okay. Start to do the outreach because we want to have a plan in place when we go live. Chris, do we have any questions on that before we jump into the launch phase?
We had a couple. Most of them were relating to, how do I take a picture? What camera should I use? And quite honestly, guys, you can use just about any camera these days. You can take great shots with your iPhone. It's really much more about the lighting than it is about anything else. But for the cost versus the return on investment that you get, honestly, having a professional photographer shoot them for you is one of the best ways to go about doing it. And Scott, you and I have done a whole bunch of hot seats for people on the podcast. And one of the things that we always look at almost immediately is those images, because images can make or break your listing. Images are the thing that grabs people, whether it's your pay-per-click advertising, like we'll talk about here in a little bit, or whether it's on that organic page. That's the thing that catches people's attention first, especially on your mobile phones, which is 40 to 50% of the Amazon business. So paying a professional photographer to take those photos is going to be one of the best investments you can make. Now, Scott, how much would that cost? You're a former professional photographer. How much would shooting a couple product photos cost? Well, or should it cost?
Yeah, well, I would say expect between $250 to probably around $350. And I just want to say, when I had Jared on the other day, we had a good long conversation about images, and he pays, but again, he takes 5 or 6 products and has the photographer shoot all of those in the same shoot, which I think is smart. So he found a really high level photographer, charges $1,500, but that's for 6 products. So if you divide that up, it comes out to where it's less, right? So I think if you plan in your head $250 to $350, you're going to be on the right page.
Yeah, and quite honestly, most photographers are going to be more than willing to shoot product photos, even if you don't have a product photographer, quote unquote, that lives near you.
Yep.
Most photographers are going to be happy to shoot something that doesn't move, doesn't cry, and they don't have to make smile.
Yep.
For a couple $100.
And they'll have connections to get you models and, lifestyle photos if you want, locations, all that stuff.
And that's really, really the thing to do. We had somebody, Jorge said he didn't understand why you were talking about giveaway sites. Can you expand on that for just a minute?
Yeah, well, giveaway sites is different. Like you got to be careful because what we had, going back, 4, 5, 6 months ago now, where Amazon came out with the big, you cannot exchange a product or you can't give away a product in exchange for a review. And a lot of these clubs, these review clubs, were built on that. And the problem with that is even though they might have taken that away from the club or the group, people are still conditioned to do that. So I don't want to go near that. Personally, I want to basically go to a deal site that's already been existing that doesn't really care if it's on Amazon, eBay, or their own website. They just want product at a discount, and they're not obligated to leave you a review. So that's all I was saying. Like I just want to be very clear. You do not want to go to a club that's designated for leaving reviews in exchange for the product.
One last question before we move on to the next phase here from Michelle. She says, I might be missing it, but how do I pre-launch a product if it isn't listed yet? Where do I lead people to go? And the way that we're using pre-launch here, Michelle, is not the same way that you may hear it being used other places. What we're talking about is getting everything ready.
Yes.
Getting everything ready for the launch. So getting
prepped.
Those lists, making sure you have your copy, making sure you have your photos, making sure that the listing is ready to go so that when you're ready to launch, you can start bringing the people in appropriately.
Yeah. And the other thing is really quickly though, just to kind of talk about that real quick, because I want to move on because we're going to run out of time here. But we want to be clear that when you set your listing up too and it's sitting there, it's also being indexed while it's just sitting there. Like there's bots inside of Amazon that's combing all the time and it's going to be getting indexed. Now it's not going to get indexed well, but at least it's going to get on the map. Now once we fuel that with sales, it's going to be starting to get right into their indexing and starting to get ranked quicker. So just understand that we're doing it to prep ourselves so we have a place to send our product. We can't send our product in if we don't have a location for it, and we have to create the listing.
Sounds good.
All right, cool.
The next phase.
Yeah, this is a launch phase strategy, guys. Okay, so we're at this point now. We've went through all of the different phases. This is where it gets exciting. You get a little nervous. You're excited, but you're nervous, right? You don't know what's going to happen. Well, this is where we want to start receiving sales, okay? And we want to start getting some reviews. Now, I know reviews is kind of like the word that people don't want to talk about anymore, but getting reviews is still okay. You just have to do it the right way. And getting reviews is just by giving some really good customer service. That's it. You don't have to go and say, hey, if I give you, a discount, will you give me a review? Or, hey, if you think we did a great job, leave me a review. Like, you can't do that stuff. Okay. It has to be very, very upfront where, you're being customer service related. And then you can say something like, hey, can you do us a favor and let Amazon know how we did? Like, that's it. Like, you don't have to say review, feedback, anything. You're just saying that you want them to let Amazon know that you did a good job or bad job, because you're not saying if it's good or bad. But anyway, but it is going to depend on the competition as far as receiving your first set of sales, okay, and the reviews. Now, I always like to leave a certain number of units there for promotions. And I mean promotions like a discount of 25%, 50%, or 75%, whatever it is. We might not have to do any, but I want to leave a little cushion there so I can do this, okay? And it's going to depend on the competition. If we did our product research properly and we're going after products that don't have high reviews and they don't get 100 sales a day, then we really don't have to give away tons of units. But I would say, let's say that we have to give away 50 to 100 units. And I say give away at a discount of 25%, let's say. Okay, we found an influencer. They have a big, massive following, and they're going to be able to give a promotion for 25% off for 50 units for us. Okay, and we pay them $200 to do it. Well, now, instead of just giving them all out at once, we're going to say we're going to give 20 a day for 5 days if we were going to do 100. Or if it was 50, it would be 10 a day for 5 days, whatever. So you just want to do that because we want to spike the sales consistently, okay, for 5 days or 7 days, whatever you're going to do it for. But again, this is going to depend on the competition. Now, this will help get the ball rolling, okay, because sales will increase the keyword ranking, like we said before, right? Once you get a sale, it came from a search of some kind. That search will eventually become a keyword that you're going to start ranking for. Okay, so keyword rank and reviews will increase your sales. Okay, and that's going to happen naturally as you get sales, but everything is driven off of sales. So we have to figure out how to get those initial sales, and that's how we're going to do it. Okay, by doing the pre-launch and being set up for it. Now, your follow-up to start to get feedback and reviews is really simple. You're going to follow up with your customers, even if you manually type them an email, because you can email every single customer by hand if you want to. I've done it in the past before I used the tool. And you're just following up to make sure that they received everything and that if they have any questions, let you know. And oh, by the way, here's a free cookbook with your new garlic press. Here's a PDF, right? And then maybe in the second email you send them, you say, hey, just checking in again. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. And oh, can you do me a favor? Can you head over to Amazon and let them know how we've done as far as, our product and our service? Just let them know. And then you just send them over to your feedback or whatever. And then from there, they can leave an honest review. You didn't say, if you don't think we did a good job, email me and don't leave anything. You're not saying that. If you want to give me 1 star, go ahead. Like, that's what I'm saying. So they're okay with that. They just don't want you to influence it and only review or only ask for feedback for people that have given you a review. So you don't want to do that either. So again, I don't want to overcomplicate this, but just take care of your customers. The feedback and reviews will come. Okay, that's it. Just understand that. So I'm going to jump right into the product promotion phase because really phase 4 and phase 5 go side by side. They really go hand in hand because as we're doing that little launch, we're also going to want to start to drive some sales through Amazon pay-per-click, sponsored ads. Okay. So right here, we're looking at a screenshot of the top 4 spots. So this is page 1 of Acrylic Compact Organizer. Well, on the right side where I circled it in red, those are sponsored ads. So those sponsored ads are put there by people that are willing to spend money to be there. Okay. So why would anyone want to do that, especially in the beginning, if they don't have any reviews and if they don't have a product that they don't know if anybody's going to buy? Why would they want to do that? Well, there's a good reason. Because if we can start getting sales, we can start to rank, and eventually we can get on this page on the left. We can get in the top 10 or the top 16. Okay, that's what the goal is. So eventually we'll get there, but we have to drive sales. So in the beginning, part of our marketing budget, part of our promotional budget is running sponsored ads. And that's what we're going to talk about here. So there's something I call the Amazon pay-per-click quick start strategy. This is something we use on all of our new products. Or even if we want to reset, we want to start from scratch, we'll do this right here. Okay. And it's really, really powerful. So I want you to pay attention to this, but I don't want you to get overwhelmed. Do not think that you have to know this right now or even be anywhere close to this right now, because if you haven't even started sourcing a product yet, this isn't even going to pertain to you yet. But I do want to cover everything in this workshop, like I promised. So number one, set up an Amazon pay-per-click ad, a sponsored ad, and set it to auto targeting. They have a checkbox there that says auto targeting. All you're telling them is, Amazon, take my product by all the details that I've put into my product, my listing optimization. You know what my product's about. Go find me people that are interested in my product. That's what you're telling them. Okay. And then they're going to go out and do that. But then you have to tell them how much you're willing to spend. So step two is you've got to set a daily ad budget. So I set it at $25 and I put my cost per click. That means I'm willing to spend up to 75 cents a click. Okay. So the cost per click means that if someone else is bidding 50 cents, I'm willing to bid up to 75. So I might bid 60 cents. Okay. I don't have to do that manually. They do it automatically, but I say my max is 75. I don't want to go over 75 cents. And then they'll go ahead and they'll make that adjustment. Then I'm going to run that for 7 days and then pause that campaign. And then I'm going to run a report. Now, Amazon gives us these beautiful reports. They aren't that beautiful, but the information and the data is beautiful because they give us all of the data. They give us all of the keywords that they targeted for us by what we had in our listing. Again, going back to listing optimization, this is why listing optimization is so darn important, because if you don't tell them what the listing is about and your product is about, your auto targeting campaign won't be that good. Okay. So we want to tell them what our product is about so they can scan the listing and then start targeting related keywords. So now what we do is we look at the keywords that Amazon targeted, because they're going to give us this in this report, and we're going to look at the impressions, the clicks, and the sales. So the impressions, all that is that means how many times your ad was displayed. Now, if your ad was displayed 1,000 times and you didn't get a click, you don't get charged for that. You had the visibility, but you didn't get charged. You only get charged if you get a click, which is pretty crazy. And then if you get a sale, awesome. But they give us that data, impression, clicks, and sales. So now what I'll do is take that data and I'll create a new campaign and I'll use the good keywords, the keywords that have gotten clicks and sales. Okay. And then I'll pull them and I'll put them into another campaign, into a brand new campaign. And I'll title that one a manual campaign of some kind. And then I'll set the daily budget on that one to $25. Okay. And then I'll run that for 7 days. Okay. But now here's a little tip for you. If you start that campaign and you're bidding 75 cents for your cost per click, and you go there the next day and you go, oh, wow, I'm not getting any impressions, or I'm getting very low impressions, it might be because you're not bidding high enough. So you might want to take that 75 cents and move it to $1 and let that run for a day. See what happens. If the impressions go up a little, then you know you're getting closer. Then the next day you might want to do $1.25. See if your impressions go up. Because if you don't get impressions, you can't get clicks. Okay? If you don't get impressions, you can't get clicks. So the first thing we need to do is see if we get impressions, then we can get clicks. If we get clicks, we've got a better chance of getting a sale. Okay? And if we get a sale, what happens? We get ranked. Okay? So it's the ranking process. It's how it works. When someone searches using a keyword and buys your product, Amazon will start to rank you for that keyword. Let me say that one more time. When someone searches using a keyword and buys your product, Amazon will start to rank you for that keyword. Okay, it's pretty cool. The ranking process also works like this. When someone clicks on your pay-per-click ad while searching a keyword and buys your product, guess what happens? Amazon's going to start to rank you for that keyword. So we can technically rank for keywords that we're even buying them, right? We're buying the keyword spot, we're getting a sale, and then we can then organically start to rank, okay? And again, depending on your competition, this could be a long process or it could be a short process, okay? It's going to depend on your competition level. But it's part of the ranking process. Breaking even or even losing money using Amazon pay-per-click can still be worth it. It's going to help you rank the product for keywords and drive organic sales, which we ultimately want, okay? But in the beginning, it might not be profitable. It's okay. It's part of our ad budget, right? It's part of our promotion budget. Here's an example of the power of pay-per-click. In 1 month, I spent $1,200 in pay-per-click. The results, I had 105 sales from pay-per-click. Not so great. It was okay. But I had 1,525 sales from search. Well, how the heck did that happen? Well, I had an optimized listing and I drove sales through pay-per-click. Okay. So both of those combined will start to get you ranked for organic keywords. Okay. So again, understand in the beginning, you might not be profitable on the pay-per-click side, but that helps you rank. That's where you can become profitable. Okay. So just, again, I don't want it to get overwhelming, but I want you to understand that there is power in this if you use pay-per-click to drive sales so you can start to get organic results. So right now, okay, when you get to this part of this process, product promotion phase, I want you to forget everything else for right now. Focus on sales and reviews. Okay, let me say that one more time. Focus on sales and reviews. Nothing else matters at this point. Okay, so let's recap the 5 steps again real quick. Again, I chunked it down for you guys. 1, product selection. 2, product sourcing. 3, the pre-launch phase. 4, the launch phase. And 5, the product promotion phase. Now, you can do this by just using the information that I share with you in this workshop. You truly can. I hope that you can see there was a ton of things that I covered here and actionable stuff. Like everything that we do in a product launch is right here. Okay. Every single thing. I want to ask you a quick question. I want you to maybe type it into the chat box. What's better in your opinion? A, invent a brand new product. B, model one that is already selling. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes. No, I'll give it a few seconds for you guys to answer. A or B? What do you guys think? Put it in there. I'm going to take a quick sip of water. Tell me what you think. See if you guys are still awake over there. Hopefully you are. Hopefully you guys are excited. What's better? A, invent a brand new product, or B, model one that is already selling? Well, in my opinion, if you answered that you could take something that's existing and make it better, it's going to be easier for you, okay? Because we've established that the product's already selling, right? So all we got to do is make it better. And how can we make it better? Well, we can look at the reviews and see what people are saying they like about it and what they don't like about it. Or maybe what accessories could be added that people are buying frequently bought together, and then you can combine those, okay? So modeling what is already working, especially when you're first starting, is going to be a lot less risky, and you have a better chance of succeeding. It's going to be easier to get to that extra $100 per day or $3,000 a month that we talked about in the 10 by 10 by 1 strategy, okay? So let's kind of go over this really quickly on another higher level, secret formula level. I'm being kind of funny here because everyone wants to know the secrets. Well, this is the 3 secrets, and I kind of covered those in detail here tonight. Secret number 1 is how to research and find products that are already selling on Amazon. Okay, model what's working. Secret number 2 is how to find suppliers to private label and modify your products. I showed you that. Alibaba, AliExpress, create a relationship and start modifying. Secret number 3, how to list and launch your product to start getting sales and rank. Okay, that's the game. That's the game right there. That's the business model, okay, for Amazon. All right, so those are the 3 secrets. I know everyone wants the secrets. Not really a big secret, but you guys see what I'm saying, right? It doesn't have to be that complicated. So let me ask you another quick question. Love this picture, by the way. Had to share it. I love seeing this image. That's why I put it up there just for myself to smile. It reminds me of my son, who's 18 now. When he was in the backyard, I'm sure he sprayed himself in the face, or maybe even me in the face a few times. But does it feel like I just sprayed you in the face with a garden hose with all of this information that I just shared with you? It's a lot of information, right? There's a lot of different things that go into this, but if you break it down, it's totally doable. All right. It's totally, totally doable. Now, I get a lot of people, and even tonight after this ends, I'll get emails that'll say, Scott, will you coach me? I want to hire you one-on-one, or maybe will you do a group coaching or meetups or masterminds? And I'm flattered, but I normally turn all of those down, and I've turned most of those down in the past, pretty much all of them. And the main reason why is because I wanted to decide what was the best way to structure and teach this process. And the big question I always ask myself is, what would have helped me when I first started? Like, what would have helped me? And if I can answer that, then I can say, well, maybe that could help you, right? Now, let me ask you another question. Would you like my help additionally from what I just shared with you here tonight? Now, I usually ask this question, and usually I'll get most people say yes, and some people say, no, Scott, I think I've got it. You've given me a lot of information here tonight. I'm going to go out there and crush it. And I say, go for it, man. That's awesome. But there are a lot of people that say that they do want that extra help. And for those people, that's why I created this. And this was really created for people that just kept asking me, Scott, I want you to take me by the hand through this process, step by step. Yes, you gave me the high level view. You gave me everything that has to be done, but I want to see step by step looking over your shoulder. So we created something we call the private label classroom. I mentioned it in the beginning that I was going to share with you inside of the class and show you a little bit of what we have to offer here. But I decided to create an entire step-by-step coaching class in private community. It's way more than a course, and I'm going to share with you why. Here's what we created in component number 1, complete step-by-step videos and worksheets walking through the 5-step process start to finish. There's 65 videos right now and growing, and it covers all 5 phases and then some and beyond. All right, I'm going to share with you in a second here something amazing that we've just recently added, which takes it to the next level. But these videos right here and the walkthroughs, everything is there for you to consume and go through and take action steps throughout the entire process. Just to let you see inside of the class, this is how we've kind of structured it and broken everything down into modules. You can see here in module 1, your product will be selected. In module 2, your product will be sourced. In module 3, your pre-launch will be created. In module 4, your product will be launched. And in module 5, your product will be promoted. And everything is in bite-sized pieces, 10-minute videos, 12-minute videos, stuff you can consume and then do. Okay. We're all about taking action, moving through this process rather than recording one giant 2-hour lesson. We broke it down into chunks so you can go off and do it. Because if I can keep you moving, I've got a better chance, a greater chance of getting you to the finish line, like I mentioned earlier, and getting to that $100 per day. Inside of the lessons, we have them broken down. We have a video lesson. We have downloads that accompany it, which is like guides or checklists or cheat sheets. We also have MP3s that are included. So if you've watched the video and then you want to download it on your phone or your MP3 player, whatever, you can listen to it to let it further sink in, or maybe something that you might not have, might not have been communicated on the video that you found later that you wanted to apply. Component number 2 is the private Facebook group. And this has been huge. This is something that I did want, and that's why I really wanted to add this in. But the accountability element is really a huge part of people's success. It's like going to the gym. If you have someone there to push you through those hard times, you've got a better chance of losing the weight or getting in shape, right? It's the same thing here in business. You need those accountability partners, okay? And that's what our class is. Our class is amazing, and it's like an extension of our family. I truly, truly believe that. And there's a lot of people that have made some really good friendships throughout this group, in this community. Inside of the private community, we also do something here on Fridays called the PLC Show and Tell. You're Up, and it's where you check in every Friday. You talk about what you've done in the past week, what you wanted to do, but you might not have done, or maybe some struggles. That's all there for you to be able to check in. Community forces accountability in a good way. You get your questions answered. You get feedback live. You get to celebrate, like Rohit says here, finished module 3 and sent 50 samples to Amazon to test the market, crossing my fingers and doing the hokey pokey in the living room. So we do the hokey pokey too. Yeah, the cat's out of the bag. We do it. And then you get access to other successful sellers. And there's so many in there. I can't even name them all, but it's just awesome how it's really evolved, because people are starting from scratch and then they build their business, and now they're sharing their results through that journey. And you're able to kind of sit next to them as they're doing it and learn through that process. But again, accountability forces you to take action, which I'm a big believer in. And you can see here, Johnny checking in week 1, week 2, and then recent update. And the reason why he's doing that is because after every single module, we say the next thing you need to do is go check in the class. You have to let everyone know that you did that, get high fives and celebrate, okay? Because it's a big accomplishment. Component number 3, this is another thing that the class wanted, was Hangouts, monthly Hangouts. We jump on a Hangout once a month, sometimes twice, and we'll do a Facebook Live every now and then. But this is for you. This is where you get to come on, ask your questions, share your wins, share your losses, and learn from each other. And we get together, like I said, live, me, Chris, and the class. Everyone's invited. If you can't make it, it's okay. We record every single one of them, and then we include them inside of the class into a private area. And again, right now there's 35 recordings, and that's growing every single month. We also do, like I said, surprise Facebook Lives. We just did one of these recently where we jumped on and we said, hey guys, we're going to be live for the next hour. You guys got any questions for us? Or, hey, we seen someone had a question over here about this. We wanted to answer it live here today. So we're constantly doing that stuff. We want you to succeed so bad that we're there as much as we possibly can. You also get access 12-month access to new class content with no additional cost ever. So whenever we're doing updates, whenever we're doing new class content, whether we're doing maybe something just that we've added because it was a bonus that we did, or maybe we did a live event, we're going to add some footage, you're going to get access to all of that stuff at no additional cost. And that's 12-month access to everything at no additional cost. So everything that I just covered that's inside the private label classroom, when you join, And it's all loaded and ready for you. So when you join, you're going to receive 5 modules, 65 videos and worksheets. That's a $1,397 value if we were to break that apart. 35 past PLC private hangouts and notes. There's notes and timestamps with every single hangout. It's a $3,000 value. You get 12-month access to the private PLC community, which I think is priceless, but we put a $497 value on that. 12-month access to new content. Again, every time we do updates, you get them absolutely free. And then monthly PLC hangouts for 12 months. So we're going to do a new one every single month for the next 12 months. And that's a $1,200 value. So total value is $6,491. We also have bonus expert interviews, which we're doing these on an ongoing basis. Whenever I find an expert, I try to get them on. You guys have a full week to submit your questions to that expert, and then I jump on live with them, and then we get to answer them, your questions, only your questions, and then I post it inside of the classroom. We did one here with Greg Mercer, who also is the owner of Jungle Scout and a few other software tools. He's also an Amazon seller. Ryan Daniel Moran was kind enough to come on. We've got an ex-Amazon employee, a lawyer that specializes in Amazon businesses, a C-shipping expert, a professional CPA that specializes in Amazon businesses. We also did a hangout here with a listing optimization to do better listing optimization so we can have better search rankings and all that stuff. And then we also did one on split testing and conversions. And we're also going to be even dabbling in a little bit with some retail and online arbitrage because people want to actually add an extension to their current businesses. So again, I'm constantly doing this as I find more experts. But all of this is packaged together inside the private label classroom. Again, if we included those 7 expert interviews now we're well over $7,800. But right now, the current public price, all packaged together, is only $1,497. So access to everything I just mentioned is only $1,497 to the public right now. But you guys are going to see something here pretty cool that we're going to do for you guys. But you can see why even at $1,497, it's a really, really good deal. Because if all this course does is help you find one product that makes you $100 per day or using the 10 by 10 by 1 criteria, that would be a worthwhile investment. I think you would agree, right? I mean, that's in 15 days, we would get your investment back. And that's the goal, right? Get you to that $100 per day as quick as possible and then be able to pay back your investment. So $1,497 is what the public price is. Now, remember, I'm not special. I wasn't able to achieve these results because I'm special or because I was lucky. I was able to get them because I took action, which I think everyone can do, and I follow the system. And I never give up, right? I just keep trudging through. Now, you can receive the exact same roadmap that I used to launch my first product. I'm going to give you your own GPS in a sense. I'm not going to give you this phone, but you guys get what I'm saying. I think it's really like thinking about going on a journey and not having GPS, right? You could get lost along the way, and you probably would. I know I would. I'll get lost in my own backyard. My wife will tell you, but we're like literally giving you the map, right? The roadmap, and we're giving you the support line, the lifelines as you need them. So everything, like I said, that we just talked about, including those 7 expert interviews, you're going to receive. Again, the public price, $1,497, but you guys are here. You guys are attending this workshop. So we're going to do something really, really special for you guys. Before I let you guys know what that is, I wanted to give you guys a chance to get one of these, and that is a Fast Action Takers bonus. So we only are going to give 3 of these away. So the first 3 that join the private label classroom here tonight live, this is only for live attendees. So if you're here live, you're watching this right now, this is for you. So a 10-minute strategy call with me. Okay, we'll talk about anything that you're struggling with. And if that 10-minute turns into a 20-minute, it does. I'm not going to cut you off at 10 minutes. We're going to make sure that you get through that roadblock or that struggle or that sticking point. All right. So the first 3 that join the private label classroom tonight will get that call. And right now, what we're going to do is we're going to knock $500 off the public price, and we're going to offer it to you guys for a single investment of just $997. Yeah, that's right. $997, single investment. Okay. And then from there, you get 12-month access to everything that I just mentioned. Okay. So all you have to do is hit the join now button. Go ahead, register. You'll instantly get an email with your login credentials. I don't want you to leave once you do that. I want you to stay here because we're going to do some live Q&A. It'll be waiting for you once we get off here. And then we'll also get you access into the private Facebook group. So you can go ahead and start introducing yourself either tonight or tomorrow. Okay. So again, the first 3 that join tonight are going to get that 10-minute strategy call. But again, $997, single investment. We're going to knock $500 off. So all you have to do is click that join now button. The other thing that we're going to do here on the workshop for you guys that are watching the workshop and attending is a flex option. We don't offer this publicly. This is only available to workshop attendees. That's you. a special 4-month investment. So $297 for 4 payments. Okay. So $297 tonight, and then 3 additional payments spaced 30 days apart. Okay. So this way here, you can spread them out over 4 months. And if you want to go that route, it's there for you. Okay. But you can also do the single option and save a little bit of money there. We're also going to give you guys live product research webinar that we did in the past with Greg Mercer. Now, this was available to only people that paid $297 for his tool. We did a private session, okay, for just those people. It was a very small group of about 100 people. We're going to give you that live recording that we did, and you can have it. It's about 77 minutes long. And we actually dig into some real product research. And actually, some of the attendees there had given us suggestions to kind of dig into. So you guys will get access to that as well. It's already loaded up inside of the members area. The other thing we're going to give you guys is some advanced Amazon pay-per-click training, because we know once you get past phase 5, you're going to want to expand that. You're going to want to make that better. And this is something we're going to be always adding to, because this is always changing and growing and getting better. So we're going to give you guys access to that. And like I said, we're always adding bonus content. Here's just an example of some of the more recent ones that we've done. We did one on understanding how to increase conversions and split testing. We did one on how to get ungated in Amazon's restricted categories, how to run reports for your business, and a whole bunch more. We also just added this. This is kind of crazy. We're still even thinking about, like, maybe in the future not offering this as a bonus, because this here was a live event that we did in Arizona recently, in Phoenix. And people paid $1,000 to attend this workshop on day 2. And you guys are going to be able to get access for the price of admission to the class. Okay. So basically, you're going to be getting this for free, which is kind of crazy, because we were there for over 4 hours discussing external traffic sources, how to use Facebook ads, how to create retargeting, how to build a giveaway so you can build an email list so you can do your own launches through that list, and a whole bunch more. But you're going to get access to all of this as a special bonus. Again, I'm not sure if we're going to offer this again in the future, because this is a huge value. We could probably charge $3 or maybe even $4.97 for the recordings right now, but we're going to give you guys access to this absolutely free. So 30-day satisfaction guarantee. Sign up today. If you don't like it for any reason, I don't care if it's 29 days, 23 hours, and 59 minutes from now, just let me know and we'll give you your money back. No questions asked. And I mean that. We only want you in the class if you're using the material and if you are taking action, okay? Because we want you to be successful. Because if you're successful, we're successful. That's how it works, right? And I get more pleasure out of hearing success stories of people saying, you know, they made their first sale, or they made their first 10 sales. That really gets me jazzed up. Okay, so we only want you in there if you're taking action. And if it's not for you for whatever reason, just let us know. No hard feelings. We'll shake hands. We'll part as friends. No big deal. So again, just to recap, when you join the Private Label Classroom, you're going to receive everything that I listed here, plus these bonuses: the 7 expert interviews, product research webinar, the funnel building workshop, which those 3 bonuses alone are over $2,300. So you're going to get all of that, which is a total value now of $9,182 for just a one-time investment of $997. That's $500 off the regular price. And again, this will be the lowest price that you'll ever see our course and our community and our class go for, because if anything in the future, it's going to be increasing because we are adding value all the time. Okay. And we're not going to run any special flash sale or anything like this. Like, this is rock bottom. And again, you guys can see at $997, if we get you to the $100 per day in profit, like we want to, and that you want to, in 10 days, you pay off that investment. That's the goal. 10 days, pay off the investment. That's our goal for, for us and for you. So we definitely want to get you there. The flex option, that's there for you as well. Special 4-month investment. And again, I haven't mentioned this, but if you don't see the join now button, if you don't see it for whatever reason, you can always go to theamazingseller.com/code39, and that'll take you to that same page. But if for some reason it's not working, then that could just because it's expired. And at that point in time, this replay or this live workshop would be taken down. But if it's not, that link will be going away. Some people try to bookmark that page, but that page will expire. So before we jump into the live Q&A, guys, I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about how classmates inspire and teach what they've learned. And I really love this because I never imagined it would be like it is right now, which is just the community that we've built has just, it's just awesome and amazing. And everyone is so awesome to each other. I just wanted to share with you Rich Kibble, he was one of our early adopters when we first launched the class. He was one of the first 25. And a little disclaimer here, results are not typical. Again, I'm not sharing his results to say that this is what you're going to receive. Everyone is going to receive different results. Some are going to be better than others. But I just want to share with you what he's posting inside of the class. And I'm sharing this just to show you how giving our community is and how willing they are to share. But Rich here says, on this one here, product one, day one, sale one, I'm up and running, $19.99. And then he says, update, I launched on May 6th. I'm exactly 17 days into the sales phase of this. And then he gives a whole breakdown. And then he gives another update 3 months later. And he's given so many more cents. And what happens is every time he does this, guess what? He gets flooded with questions, and he's so generous to answer all those questions. So imagine being next to someone that's actually going through the process or has been through the process and giving you a play-by-play into their business. Like that's unheard of. So it's really, really powerful. Andy Irvine, I want to highlight him real quick because he says inspired by Rich Kibble. You see how it's kind of contagious? He wants to share now because Rich is sharing. So again, it's kind of contagious in a good way. But Andy also, I wanted to kind of highlight him because he's an international seller. He's from Australia. So anyone that's on here tonight that's from a different country and maybe asking themselves, can I do this? I'm in another country. And the answer is yes, you can. And Andy's a perfect example of that. And you can see Jamie Vi, he actually met us in Texas. He didn't have a product launched and he's doing phenomenal. But again, I just wanted to share with you, he's in here sharing his results, giving you a play-by-play and giving you a sneak peek into his business, and we're so willing to share all of the nuts and bolts. And then, Jared, I mentioned him. He was actually on here tonight. He didn't have anything launched in Denver when we were at that event. We had a TAS live event there. He was a little confused, a little overwhelmed. He went home with an action plan. He executed it. He took action. And, the rest is history. He's just a huge fan right now of this business model, and he's still kind of pinching himself. But again, we have so many people that are so willing to give and to share. And this one here was actually from today. It says, bam, product selection is key. Product 2 went live yesterday, 0 reviews. We just ran some pay-per-click and 16 sales in 1 day. Well, let me just tell you something. Bernard, he actually, by just running pay-per-click, generated 16 sales. That's a good sign. No reviews, pretty awesome. So again, small wins turn into big wins. But the thing is the class does inspire and help each other because you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people. And when you do that, again, it forces you, it makes you want to be like those people. So I've always said, it's my son who's a basketball player. You want to be with people that are smarter than you, that are also, doing what you want to do. And you want to be able to learn from them and also help them with them in their journey. And that's really what I believe that the class does. So the private label classroom is really the entire process mapped out to help you launch your private label product on Amazon and start getting sales. And it gives you the support system as well. So everything we just talked about, again, total value, $9,182, single investment option of just $997. If you want to jump in, go for it. Single investment option is there, and the flex option is there for you as well. Now, you have 2 choices right now. The first option is do nothing and don't join the class, which is 100% risk-free. And, you might have come here and you might have said, you know what, Scott, I don't know if this business model is for me now that I've seen everything that you've showed me tonight. Thanks for doing it, but, I don't think it's for me. And that's cool. That's an option. Totally cool. The second option is make this small investment today compared to all the value you're going to get in return and just give it a shot. And if the class doesn't help you make money, then I don't deserve yours, and I mean it. And that's why I'm extending this 30-day satisfaction guarantee. There's no risk on you other than you going out there and trying this business model. We're going to take all the risk on us. We're going to give you full access to everything, okay? And then it's up to you to go through it and execute it, but we're going to be there to help you through each and every step. Now, I'm not sure why you showed up tonight, okay? I'm not really sure. But maybe it was to spend more time with your family or pay off that mortgage or car or student loans, or maybe go on that extra vacation, or maybe just have a flexible schedule, maybe that freedom lifestyle that we talked about, right? But you do have to figure that out. You have to figure out that why, because that why will fuel you when times get tough. Trust me. It's really, really important that you do that. So if there's only one thing that you take away from here tonight, do this right here. Establish this, write this down. Why are you doing it? Okay. And the bottom line is you have to start. Now, I get this question a lot, but Scott, I should have started this last year, right? And my answer is no, you can start today. But I always like to go back to the Chinese proverb. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is now. And I truly, truly believe that. So before we jump into the Q&A, let's have a little fun. what I'm going to do here is for everyone that is joining the class here tonight, while we're live, this is only for live attendees, I'm going to raffle off. I'm going to pull one winner out of a virtual hat, and they'll win a 30-minute coaching call with me, a free license to Jungle Scout, and a $50 Amazon gift card. So we're going to do that here tonight at the end of the live Q&A round, and we'll pull one winner. All you have to do is join the class. Once you do, you'll be entered in the hat, and at the very end, we'll pull out a winner, and we'll announce it here live on this workshop. So, Chris, are we ready to jump into the live Q&A?
We are ready to go. Give me 1 second here, Scott.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so guys, if you guys
I'm picking up a few pieces of stuff that we're breaking as we go here. So
okay,
before we jump into the fully live section, Scott, there's a bunch of questions that I know that we got asked somewhere in the threads here tonight, and so I wanted to start with those really quick.
Sure.
You know, a lot of people that are on with us are probably wondering, you know, this is great, but don't I need a whole bunch of money to get started? What do you typically see sellers starting with in terms of that capital?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. And, you know, I think it ranges, but I think generally between $2,500 and $5,000 is what I would say. Now, some people would be like saying, whoa, Scott, I don't know if I want to go down that road. It's okay. You don't have to. I've seen people start with $100 and turn that into $300 and then turn that into $800. You got to start where you can start. Okay. So I don't like to say, you know, well, you have a good excuse. Don't start. Wait until you get $5,000. No, start where you are today. And then from there, you know, just do what you can do to kind of get started.
No, I would agree with that. You know, another thing I know a lot of people are probably wondering, and something that that our friend Jared, who is on here with us, can preach to, is, can I do this with a 9-to-5 job? You know, the Amazon thing is really cool, but if it takes up a ton of my time, I might not be able to do it, is a thought that I know a lot of people are having. And the answer is absolutely yes, you can do this with a 9-to-5 job. And let's be honest, guys, most of us who have a quote unquote 9-to-5 job aren't actually working 9 to 5, right? Scott, before you were a self-employed professional photographer, well, even when you were a professional photographer, that wasn't a 9-to-5 job. But when you were working for your father's business,
sure,
that was a quote unquote 9-to-5 job.
Yep.
Right? How many hours did you actually work a day?
About 60.
A day?
Oh, a day, 60. Okay. A day, it was generally, I would say about 10.
So 10, you know, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours a day, right? And that's not all that uncommon, but but even in there, you probably had some downtime, right? Maybe you went to lunch with your friend Jim, who you've talked about in the past, and maybe, you know, you screwed around a little bit in the morning. You stopped at Dunkin' Donuts for some coffee. Maybe you went to Starbucks, right? There's a couple places in there where we can find maybe even just 15, 20 minutes to start doing some of these things. And quite honestly, even once you're up and running, it really only takes an hour a day on the upper end to really get this business rolling. And if all you have is 15, 20 minutes, you really can start in the first few phases of this business, your product research, your sourcing, in 15, 20 minutes a day. Now, it's going to take you a little bit longer than if you had hours and hours to dedicate to it, but it's absolutely doable. And that's one of the things that's fantastic about this business model. Speaking of which, Scott, does this work for people who are not technical?
Well, that's a beautiful thing, right? Because Amazon takes care of all of the techie stuff, right? Like, you don't have to worry about a merchant account. You don't have to, you don't have to worry, about a website. You don't have to worry about traffic. You don't have to worry about having a customer service rep. You don't have to worry about refunds. Like, all of that stuff, you don't have to worry about. You just got to worry about finding a market and a product and making a good product and then listing it. Like everything we covered tonight, like that's what you got to do.
You know, Scott, another question is actually something that I saw, and that's kind of why I'm laughing about it, because the wording was almost identical to what I kind of wrote down, which is like, everybody knows about Amazon. Isn't it oversaturated at this point? What are your thoughts on, is Amazon oversaturated?
Well, yeah, it's oversaturated with garlic presses and rubber mitts and, all of those products that we all have probably seen, because everyone's just jumping on the same bandwagon. That's why I'm a big fan of drilling down deeper inside of markets, right? And finding those maybe not so shiny, sexy products. So I would say yes for certain products, certain markets. That's why we're trying to find products that are low competition, low reviews, still getting 10 sales. Most people are looking for 30, 50, 100 sales a day type products. we're not going near them, right? We're staying down below those. So, there's always new products coming into the marketplace too. There's always new people coming into the marketplace. So I would say, yes, it's becoming more saturated in certain areas, but not, I'm not really worried about it, to be honest with you.
No, and that's, you kind of alluded to the way that I always phrase this, which is like products get saturated, Amazon doesn't, right? So there are some things, and somebody asked us, well, Scott, you started in 2015. What has really changed? And the answer is the only thing that's really changed since we started is you have to look a little bit deeper. You can't just launch the first thing on your list, right?
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
That doesn't mean that all the good products are taken or that Amazon is saturated. And quite honestly, the first thing on your list is going to be probably fairly similar to the first thing on most other people's lists. It's going to be like your car keys or your shoes or the floor or bed sheets, right?
Right.
Whatever that first thing is that you write down on that touch list, it's going to be the same for just about everybody. I sleep in a hammock, but that's a completely different conversation. So those products that are further and further down the list are the ones, and the way that you always say this is like the unsexy things, right?
Yep.
Those are going to be the ones that are not only going to be winners in the short term, but they're much less likely to be saturated in the longer term as well. And the product that comes to mind, and somebody was asking, do Scott and Chris still launch products? And the answer is yes. And the product that immediately came to mind when I saw that question is the one that you and I have been talking about for the last few weeks, right? Something I never would have even known, one, existed, or two, was something that people bought until I needed it. And right. I was putting together my guest room because one of my business partners was coming, and I had moved to a new house, and I just was lazy, quite honestly, and hadn't quite put it together yet. And I realized that something was broken and I needed to replace it. And it was a piece for something that I own, right? And just happened to jump on Amazon, because after you do this for a little while, you kind of get that feeling in your stomach. You're like, there's something here. I must not be the only person that's ever needed this. And I jump on Amazon and it's selling thousands a month, right, across multiple different sellers. And that led us to 3, 4, 5 other products that we can launch all in the same space as its own little brand, if that's what we end up doing. And so it's not going to be the first thing you look at, and it shouldn't be. And the stuff that's further and further and further down that list is going to be less and less and less saturated, but it still potentially has a huge volume. And it has at least enough in many cases to get you to that 10 by 10 by 1, which is really what we're talking about here today. We're not talking about finding one product that's going to sell 1,000 units a day. That's a completely different blessing and curse situation, right? We're looking for some products that are going to sell consistently for us and that are going to be able to do whatever we thought about doing. Scott, when you asked that question earlier about what happens when you get to that first product or that second product or that third product, what is our why, right? It's trying to help us achieve that. It's not trying to make us instant millionaires overnight. Scott, how long would you typically say that it takes somebody to get started? If they started the product research phase right now, how long would you say, quote unquote, typically before they started selling on Amazon?
I like to give people like the 90-day, like 60 to 90-day window. I think that's a good window. But again, that could be quicker if you find your product that you want to source and that goes smooth. It could be quicker. But I like 90 days. But it can go in as much as 180 days, depending. But I think 90 days is pretty much a good number. I think most people could say that they could be launched in 90 days. And like I said, maybe even as soon as 60 days.
Scott, can you quickly jump into the 30-day money back guarantee and explain that? Is that no questions asked?
That's pretty, I mean, yeah, that's pretty simple. It's, you go in, you test it out, you see if it's for you, and if it's not for you for whatever reason, you just let us know. I mean, life gets in the way. We understand that. And if it's not, you just send a simple email, support@theamazingseller.com, and we'll issue you a full refund. Like, no questions asked. Yeah, that's it. Simple.
The last question that I know we're going to get asked, and we're going to dive into the ones that we're getting, and we're getting a whole bunch already, guys. And if you do have any, make sure you leave them in the chat. And if you can mark them as a question, that way we don't miss any of them. We're going to start rattling through those. But before we do that, Scott, one last question that you and I always get about the class is like, are you and I actually active in the class? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. Not only are we jumping in and doing some random Facebook Lives, not only are we making sure that the content is always up to date, but we like to spend, I typically spend 45 minutes to an hour a day, and I know you do the same thing, jumping into the Facebook group and answering questions. And I think the Facebook group is one of those things that we tend to gloss over as like this bonus feature type of thing. But honestly, that's one of the biggest places where you're going to learn. because you're not just learning from Scott and I in there, you're learning from the other students inside PLC as well. And the story that I like to tell all the time is I can get tagged in a question by somebody, by a student. And by the time that I've clicked on that post and started to respond, there's 2 or 3 other people inside of PLC that have already responded to that question. And it's people who have just gone through that or just done that and just had that same problem and were able to overcome it. So you get wisdom from not only Scott and myself, but from all of the other sellers in there, like Jared, if he's still hanging out with us as well. Scott, what do you say we jump in and do a little bit of rapid fire through some of these questions?
Yeah, no, I'm ready. Let's hit the speed round.
Supplier that I found on Alibaba is making products for my competitor. Should I still use them?
That's a great question. You can still use them, but understand if they're making the same product, you got to be careful, right? Because now all of a sudden, if it was easy for you, it's going to be easy for someone else. And then now all of a sudden you've got a ton more competition. Now, if that's the case, then you may want to figure out a way to make yours different, whether that's making your version better or whatever. Or the other option is go out and find a different supplier. Like, don't use that same supplier because maybe you're like, well, I know that it's going to be the same supplier because they're sending me a sample with their logo on it or whatever. So you don't want to, have that same supplier. But the other thing, you got to make your product different as far as, whether it's better or having an accessory added to it or something like that.
Jared says, I can't leave. I'm loving it. You're able to answer most of these questions, Jared. Maybe you should answer some of them. Rachel says, Chris and Scott, do you have any social media marketing books, podcasts, or blogs that you would recommend? I'm a big fan of, the one thing, it's not really a social media book or a marketing book, but that's a great one. Jab, 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 right hook. If you haven't read that, I'm a big Gary Vee fan. I think the guy gets it. And I think he's a little bit of a rock star there on the social media side as well. Scott, do you have any that you can rattle off the top of your head?
Yeah, I would say for social media Examiner. That's a good blog. It's also a good podcast. Michael Stelzner is the host of that, and he runs Social Media Examiner. So I would say that would be a good one. They do a really good job of creating some solid content. So yeah, I would say that'd be a good one.
The other one, I mean, if you are more on the social media side, again, this one's probably not for beginners. I nerd out on it all the time, is Rick Mulready's, is it FB Advantage? Is that the name of the podcast?
No, it's actually the Art of Paid Traffic.
Art of Paid Traffic.
Yep.
FB Advantage is the event that you and I went to.
Yep.
The Art of Paid Traffic podcast with Rick Mulready. All around good guy and somebody that is very, very wise in that space. If you're looking at driving any kind of paid traffic, they get nerdy on some of the social media stuff as well too. So It's really an interesting place. Eric says, what's your take on Shopify and connecting it with FBA? I think Shopify is a great platform, Eric, but for most sellers, you don't need something like that. Something like a ClickFunnels website, a WordPress website is going to be much better off for you. If you have more than, I would say, a dozen products or a dozen variations, that's where something like a Shopify would come in handy. Otherwise, you're better off with a WordPress or a ClickFunnels type of a site. Alan says, I'm one of your students and I'm headed to the Canton Fair. Do you have any advice for me? Scott, do you have any advice for somebody going to the Canton Fair?
Wow. Yeah, I would say I would get organized. I would probably
I think is the number one.
Yeah, I've never been, but I know people that have, and they always say that they get overwhelmed before they even get started. So I would say, like anything, try to have, a map and then kind of go to those certain areas that you want to spend the most time. And I would say then, again, creating those relationships with those people in person, it could be a great resource for you, because some of those, actually a lot of those, are not even on Alibaba. So you're going to possibly find products that aren't even on Alibaba, so you don't have to really worry about them being found and then people launching them right away. So I would just say be organized, have a clear plan of attack, and just try to stay focused on what you're there for.
Yeah, and honestly, I haven't been either, and I don't have really any intention of going, quite honestly. If I happen to be there when the Canton Fair is going on, then I'll go. But,
right.
I don't necessarily feel that I need to make a special trip for that. The biggest piece of advice that I can give you, just from the people that I've talked to that have gone, is very similar to Scott's, which is know what you're looking for. because the thing that is kind of overwhelming about that, right? And for those of you guys who don't know, the Canton Fair is basically Alibaba in person. It's like every product that exists in the world in one building, basically. And if you don't know, you'll come back with a huge pad filled with ideas, having gotten nothing done. And so I have some friends who have gone, and that was kind of, they went just looking for stuff, right? Not anything in particular, not saying I want to look at garlic presses or even kitchen stuff, just, oh, I'll see what I see when I get there. And they got pads and pads and pads of ideas. Nothing was pre-validated. And then they ended up leaving with basically nothing. So go with a plan of attack, like what Scott said. What would you consider to be a good conversion rate, Scott?
That's going to range depending on, the market, the category that you're in. But I would say generally, definitely above a 10, but I would say probably 15 to 20% would be a good conversion rate. But if you're at a 10%, it's still pretty decent. It just depends, on the category that we're talking.
I would say anything under double digits is probably not good.
Yeah.
Anything over double digits starts at like your okay to your upper teens, low 20s is usually considered a really, really good conversion rate for most products. The other thing to keep in mind is if you're driving a lot of PPC traffic in the beginning, that doesn't necessarily convert until you start to weed that down just a little bit. So you're going to have a lower conversion rate. And as you start to optimize your pay-per-click and as you start to rank better, your conversion rate is going to increase, right? There are some things to do. And if you guys go listen to some of the Hot Seat podcasts, there's a lot of things you can do, some small tweaks that you can make to your listing to help increase those. And we alluded to one of the biggest ones earlier, and that's your photos, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Photos and your copy are the two big things that are going to influence that, as well as obviously reviews and having that social proof there. Matthew says, can you talk about creating a PDF to go with a product? Does it have to be original content created by you? And can that give links to like a YouTube video? If you want to include a PDF with your product, the first thing that I would do is make sure that you have the rights to distribute that, right? If you're just taking someone else's PDF, you can't necessarily sell that as a part of your product unless you have the rights to it. So the easy way to do that is to write your own piece of content that you're using for that. As far as external links, I'm okay with that. And Scott, I believe you are as well, inside of the PDF. You don't want to do that inside of the email where you deliver that or anything like that. And right. You obviously want to make sure that any of those internal or those external links aren't pointing to something that's like, never buy from Amazon again, get 87% off only when you buy through our website, right?
Yeah.
If it's an Amazon opt-in or another piece of content, I think that's fine. Again, do what you feel comfortable with. But to me, that would be kind of where the line is. And I have this little test that I use with Amazon. I call it the mom test. And basically, if Amazon customer service was my mom, would I feel comfortable explaining it to her or would she yell at me? As long as I'm providing value, my mom would not have a problem with that, right? If I'm doing something a little shady and trying to steal business away from Amazon, my mom would have a problem with that. So I'm not going to do that. Asher says, when you run PPC campaigns, what gets indexed for keywords or search terms? Do keywords on the back end also get indexed? What are your thoughts on that, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I think I understand the question. So basically, if you are running, if you're running paid traffic, basically, sponsored ads, and someone searches for stainless steel garlic press, is that going to help you rank? And is it going to help if you have keywords on the back end and in your listing? Is that what the question is?
Yeah. So basically, one, do your back end keywords get indexed? The answer to that is yes.
Yes.
And two, then when you're running PPC, what actually helps you get indexed? The answer to that is sales, right?
Yes.
Sales from your PPC. Yeah. And that's going to help you rank for those search terms. And the reason that I say search terms is not keywords is because that's Amazon's lingo for pay-per-click. It's what the customer is actually typing in. So regardless of whether you make the sale from an organic sale or from a paid ad, you start to rank for whatever the customer has typed in. And the more people that type that in and buy your thing, the better you rank for that product. Can you discuss what you do for modifying products? Scott, can you dive into how you would decide if you want to modify a product and then what you actually have to do to get that done?
Yeah, well, there's a few different things, but I mean, at the very basic level, it would be combing through the reviews and then seeing what people are are saying that they wish it had, or what they're complaining about that it didn't do, or whatever, right? And then trying to make that product better by having your manufacturer fix those problems. Okay. The second part of that is if that needs, or if that requires you to create a brand new type of maybe part that goes on it, it might require you to get a mold made. And if you have a mold made, that will then add to the cost of that. It's still possible, but then you really need to make sure at that time that thing that you're adding is going to make it that much better. I like to try to do the things that don't require a mold up front, where you can then add something on to an existing product, or add a longer piece of Velcro, or add another strap, or something where it doesn't require you to have a new mold cost. So generally, the easier way would be to look at the reviews, see what people are saying they wish it had or wish it came with, and then you answering that with that on the new product.
Yeah, and the long story short is it's going to depend on what kind of modifications you're going to make. But the easiest way to find out what it's going to take is to ask your supplier what that specific modification is.
Absolutely.
Quite honestly, they're going to be very upfront with you about it. They're either going to say we have to make a mold, or they're going to say no, it's no problem. We can just put the silicone over the garlic press handle for you and be done with it. Yeah. Any fear of creating too much competition, or is the pond limitless? So even if everyone is doing garlic presses, there's another opportunity coming out. Jim, we kind of jumped into this a little bit earlier, but quite honestly, again, products can get saturated. The market as a whole generally will not. And Scott, we've talked about this a little bit in the past when you talked about like Amazon getting saturated, and you have one of the top rated business podcasts. You're well over 6 million downloads. Everybody has had the opportunity to know that you can sell on Amazon at this point. And quite honestly, it comes down to 95% of people are never going to take the action to do it. And then, half again of the 5% who do are never even going to get past the sample ordering phase, because life happens or whatever. And so, we're showing you this opportunity. If it's something that you think you can make work based on what you've seen, and quite honestly, if you put in the little bit of effort that it requires, you can make it work, then go for it. But a lot of people never end up taking the action. That's why Scott said earlier, when he was talking about some of the different people that we were sharing with you guys, and I think you said it right after Rich Kibble, right? His results aren't typical because not everyone is going to take this action.
Yeah, I mean,
it's actually do something with it, and that's kind of the crux with anything, right? Whether it's this or retail arbitrage.
It's the sad truth, but it is. I mean, and that goes with anything. I mean, how many people go to the gym on January 1st, and how many are still there? Like,
there were 3 in the gym today.
Yeah, and how many were there on January 1st? Probably 100.
I won't go for the first week in January.
Exactly. So you know what I mean? Like, it's sad, but it's the truth. And I mean, there's nothing, our job really right now is to try to get more people. Like, so our percentage, we want to get up. So if we get 100 people to say they want to do it, like, honestly, if we get 10% that actually follow through and do it, that's actually doing really well. Now, if we can push that to 20%, then we're doing even better. Like, that's what our job is. Like, how can we make it an easier process so more people can get through it and keep motivated through the process? But yeah, you're right. I mean, most people are going to consume information until they drop, and they're still not going to launch. It's just the way it goes. So I don't look at it like, okay, how much competition is there? Because, even though people might be launching today, it doesn't mean they're going to be still there consistently, 6 months from now.
Natalie said these are the examples you're sharing are from 2015 and 2016. Do you have any recent success stories that you're willing to share, Scott?
Yeah, actually, Jared, who's on here, was, I believe, wasn't he 2016 when
he started in May of last year?
Yeah. So that was one. And, we have others that are in the class right now. Those are just ones that we've had from the past that, that we put up there. I mean, I shot one today, this morning, that I gave you guys in the very beginning. I mean, on his second product, he's got 16 sales, just launched yesterday. So we've got people in there launching, I don't want to say daily, but, everyone has product that's coming to market. So I just had one just the other day. Actually, we have, someone in another program that we have that, doing over $2,500. So they're constantly in there, working through this process. But again, you have to get people through it. And again, if someone starts today, they're not going to probably launch for 90 days, or then some.
Jared says still here. And, quite honestly, Scott, like, yeah, Jared said his first sale was June 2016, right?
Okay.
And, like, you and I are still launching products, and we don't launch a lot of ones just by ourselves anymore. We partner with some other people. We have 4 products right now that I'm aware of, and I'm probably lying. There's probably more than that, either in development, the sample phase, whatever, part of before we finalize sourcing of it phase from the product research phase forward. But we had there's a product that I'm thinking of that you've talked about a little bit in the Open brand that we were selling 30, 40, 50 a day of with no reviews that we launched, the first week in November of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely still possible. It's 100% possible, guys. You just have to do the research. You have to actually find those products. And again, it's not going to be the first thing on your touch list. It's not going to be your bed sheets or your slippers or your pajamas. It's going to be the cleaner, the filter on your vacuum cleaner, right? It's not going to be sexy, but it's going to be something that sells pretty well.
Yeah. It's funny. I should probably update our slides because I didn't even put in our test brand. Like, we have a test brand that we work on, and we did it just to kind of throw some things to see what happens, just as a test account. And that last year in 2016 did over 100,000. It did 103,000. And again, those products actually are close to not following the criteria that I shared here tonight in a way that you would say, well, then it's not going to be profitable. And what I mean by that is some of those products most of those products are under $19. They're more like $15. And the profit per unit is between $6 and $8. But we are still able to generate $100 in revenue, 33% margin. So 33,000 in profit, and that's after pay-per-click and all expenses. But I mean, we're actively doing, like, we're building this brand new brand. We have 4 products in production. I had a meeting just yesterday with the partner that I'm working with on that, and talked with China last night. So we're actively doing that, moving through this process with everyone, and we're sharing along the way. So, but yeah, I mean, to me, it's about being in the trenches. I'm not going to be one that'll probably ever leave the trenches because I want to be in it so I can be testing and tweaking and seeing what it's like. And plus, it's fun. It's a challenge, right? Like, it's a challenge it's a challenge to me for people to say, well, it can't be done. Then I'm just like, okay, I'm going to show you.
That's why you launched that test brand.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Your general guidelines, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, is you're saying, $19 to $45, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is that way you can make your like $9 to $10 profit. If you screw up somewhere, there's still enough margin there. And so a lot of people were saying, oh, well, you can't sell a product that's less than $16 and make any money. And you were still able to make a 30% margin.
33.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get nitpicky.
Hey, that's
you're still able to do that. And again, you're not, like, no offense, I love you to death, but you're not that much smarter than anybody else.
Right.
You just have the ability to take action. Mm-hmm. And that's really the thing.
And not afraid to screw up.
Right. And you fail fast and you fail often, and then you learn from your mistakes. Somebody asked earlier, they said, can you share a problem that you've overcome? And I said, well, that's kind of a vague question. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? They said, like, related to product research, did you ever pick a product that flopped? Scott, have you ever picked a product that's flopped?
Yeah, actually, we have. There's actually a product right now which we got involved with, and there's 2 products, 2 SKUs, and we wanted to test out this market, and we did. And right now we're selling about 5 units a day on one of them and probably 2 on the other. And we've got 1,000 units of each. And we're basically just going to sell through them and then probably not reorder. But I'm still making money. It's selling for $25 and I pay $6. So, it's it's still making money. It's just one that we don't want to push.
Well, so, and your second product, and what I said was, you talked about this on the podcast, and it's one of the things that led to one of the kind of revelations, the light bulb moments, if you will, that you've had, which is your second product, and validating depth and demand, which is really the key there.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And you said, oh, well, this is selling like hotcakes, I'm going to get it.
Yep.
And it turned out that like one or two of them were selling really well and the rest of them really weren't, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So, again, but you ended up actually squeaking out a little bit of profit on that one as well, if I remember correctly.
Well, yeah, what we did is we had about I think it was like 200 units left, and we just liquidated them. Actually, I did it came up for a lightning deal. I got rid of about 100 there, and I got rid of more, about 175 there, and then I had like 25 or 30 left, and then we just kind of blew them out. But yeah, I mean, we cleared them out, got my money back, and just dusted ourselves off and moved on. But so many people would have just quit after that, right? They're like, it's just done, right? I mean, it clearly works. You just have to get out there and actually apply and be willing to. I mean, we have people in our class that they say, I did a product, it failed. I did a product, it failed. I did a third one and it was a hit. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a matter of being persistent and like not giving up. Like, I'm too stubborn to lose. Like, I'm going to just keep pushing through. I'm always the guy saying, want to do a rematch? Like if I get beat, I'm going to say, can I have a rematch? Let's do it again. That's just my nature. But not everyone's built that way, but that's why we created the class too, is because we want it to be where those people are there to support each other and push each other through the process. So yeah, but if it's not, again, every business model isn't built for everyone. Maybe you want to go buy a franchise. Maybe you want to go out and buy a Subway and pay $250,000, hire employees, and hope that you're in a good location that has traffic that's going to have people come in, and then you got to manage everything. Like, maybe that's your thing. Not me. It's not my thing. Like, I don't want to have to worry about managing people. I don't want to have to worry about my $250,000 that's out there to start a business that I hope that I'm on the right corner. But some people, they want that. And in order, I want to just talk about this really quick. There was a Dunkin' Donuts that was near my old house and in New York. And I seen them open up a new location. And I basically heard through the grapevine that they make generally an owner of one of those Dunkins maybe $100,000 a year. Okay.
It's about average for a fast food type restaurant.
And that's like headaches and everything, right? So in order for them to grow their income, guess what they got to do?
Open another one.
You got it. And what happens when you have another one? More responsibility, more headaches, right? So the only way you can grow is open up more locations. What you can do to grow here on Amazon or on your own e-commerce is launch more products, right? So it's
or when the time is right, expand beyond Amazon, right?
Well, yeah,
there's money just sitting there. And guys, I saw a couple people asking about like how do I really launch a product? And we do an entirely different workshop on that you guys can find at theamazingseller.com/build list or /launch list. I think will work for that as well. And you can sell off Amazon as well. But the reason that we like getting started on Amazon is they make everything super simple. It's super easy. They take care of all the technological problems for you. And all you have to do is find the product and plug it in. But in a business like this, you have a whole bunch of different ways that you can grow and expand. You can take it off Amazon. You can launch additional products within Amazon's ecosystem, right? You can take and increase the amount of money that you're bringing in a whole bunch of different ways, not just by opening up another franchise location, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Chris, before we jump into a few more questions here, we're getting a little bit late here in the hour. Let's go ahead and just do a little recap here. We've got still well over 100 people still on with us. I know you guys still have some questions in queue. We will get to them. Let's just kind of go through this really quickly, just to let you guys know everything that's included once again inside the class. And I know some of you were mentioning that you had a couple of issues. And Chris, I'm not sure if you got that worked out or not, but with the billing and stuff like that. But again, technical stuff, right, guys? Technical issues. It always happens. Doesn't matter if you're on Amazon or if you're running one of these workshops. But everything that we discussed here is included inside the class. Like I said, 5 modules, 65 videos, a private PLC Facebook community, 35 past PLC Hangouts with notes, monthly PLC Hangouts. Those are going to be live for you, and then 12-month access to new content, and then 12-month access to the private Facebook group, and then all the special bonuses. And that's over a $9,000 value. You guys are going to get it for just $997, single investment option. You can always head over to theamazingseller.com/code 39. That'll take you to that page. If you go there and it's not available, that's because it's expired, but it should be available now. The flex option is there for you as well. This is not public. This is only for you while you're on the workshop. So again, $297 gets you full access. And then you just have 3 additional payments over the next 90 days. And then access after 12 months. I know some people have asked this. Okay, what happens after 12 months, Scott? Well, here's what happens. You still can have access to all of the ongoing support, like the private PLC Facebook community. You can get access to the Hangouts with notes. You can get access to all of the upcoming monthly Hangouts. And you can get access to all of the, the new content, also the private Facebook group, all of that stuff. You can get access to after the 12 months for just a single payment of $97 for the year. So basically, after the first 12 months, if you still want access to the community and to the ongoing Hangouts and all of that stuff, it's just $97. And we'll remind you like on the 11th month and let you know. And this, again, is something that will most likely be increasing, at least double, because the value that we're adding into the community and the things that we have planned that are coming up is going to just take it even a notch up from where it is right now. So just to kind of let you guys know that we are actually even adding things here in the near future. But again, that's going to be a $97 additional fee after 12 months. But again, if you don't want to renew, you don't have to. Again, it comes with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. Give it a try. If you don't like it for any reason, just let us know. No questions asked. I did want to remind you guys of this. I'm going to give it like another 2-3 minutes for anyone that is on the fence and hasn't joined, wants to get in on this. You're going to have to do it right now. So just jump into, just go ahead and start registering now, get in. And then when I tally these up, you'll be put into a virtual hat. We'll pull out one winner and I'll announce that winner here at the end. And that's a 30-minute coaching call with me, a free license to Jungle Scout, and a $50 Amazon gift card. So Chris, let's answer some more questions. And then maybe in, let's say, 3-4 more minutes, we'll go ahead and we'll pull that winner.
Sounds good. Brian says, at what point does Amazon send back your product if something doesn't sell? And what do you recommend doing with it if it doesn't sell? Well, quite honestly, Amazon isn't going to send back your product unless you ask them to. The reason for that is they do have some storage fees and something like, some additional fees like that if it sits there. If your product doesn't sell, the best thing to do is just to clear it out, right? You can lower your price. You can run promotions. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do. One of the most effective ways that I found of doing that is just by lowering your price. Yep. Right? You can lower it to break even. You can lower it to make a dollar or two, and you're going to sell through that inventory.
Side note. I got a side note here. We had a product we were testing. We had about 60 left in stock. Another product that we started and we said, don't want to do this anymore. And it kind of went with our brand, but we just didn't see it working. So, I think our hard cost landed in Amazon was like $5, and we ended up lowering the price to $997. We blew them out, 62 units, and we did that in like 3 days. So again, lower your price, you'll probably blow through it.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, if they don't just at that price, there's a lot of places that you can go. Again, like we mentioned earlier, Slick Deals or Fat Wallet, and we can blow them out there. We can put them on eBay and blow them out there. Craigslist, any of those kinds of places, you can do that as well. Desmond wants to know, is there a formula or model that's used to know when to restock inventory, especially right after launching? Amazon actually gives you some pretty cool inventory reports that they didn't used to give you, and it gives you estimated days in stock or estimated days left, right? So you can use that number as long as you know how long it takes you to get it from the time you wire your manufacturer money. You can use that estimate. You can use an inventory tracking tool if you want. Honestly, most of my stuff happens through the inventory management tab inside of Amazon. And we go, okay, we know we have 30 days left in stock. It takes 3 weeks to get the product. Let's go ahead and reorder at this point.
Hey, Chris, real quick. Brian wants to know if his registration went through. Do you know that?
He's good to go.
He's good to go. Yeah, Brian.
I have to.
You are eligible.
I have to update his info after we get off here because it's not something I can do on the fly. But we're okay. I have his order. So.
Okay, cool. Brian, welcome, by the way.
Robert says, "Do you is a niche with 200 reviews or less on most of the sellers a good niche to dive into?" And Robert, that's exactly what we're talking about in that 10 by 10 by 1 review criteria. We want to see fewer reviews than maybe 200-300 reviews, and the reason for that is because it helps us be relevant faster in that market. If everybody has 1,000 reviews and we have 5, we're not as relevant in the eyes of the consumer. If they have 100 and we have 20, we're much more relevant. Does that make sense, Scott?
Yeah, totally.
The other thing that review number tells us is also how competitive that market is going to be, how hard we're going to have to fight to be relevant, how many products we're going to have to give away at a discount, or, are we going to have to build a list in advance to really make that product work? How much work are we going to have to do before we can kind of put it on that more autopilot, selling 10 a day without even worrying about PPC type of a thing? Colton wants to know, are you guys going to ASD Market Week in Vegas? No, we are not. At least I am not. Scott, I believe you are not.
No.
We have a whole bunch of travel coming up here for different things like Seller Summit and a few other conferences that we're going to be going to. So I'm not planning on going to ASD this year, and I don't think you are either.
No.
Jim wants to know, what inventory management software do you use to ensure no stockouts? Again, I just use the Amazon inventory reporting. There's a whole bunch of web-based products out there that will do a little bit of a fancier job of doing it. But if I know how long it takes me to get a product, all I need to know is how many days I have left, and then I'll go ahead.
Yeah, the one that I'm using in the test brand is Fetcher, and that is doing some projections. So that will work as well. Again, if you go over to my resources page, you can find that stuff over there, theamazingseller.com/resources. And that should be updated with that. If not, you can just go to theamazingseller.com/Fetcher, and you'll find that. I think they have a 30-day trial on that too for free. So you might want to check that out. But yeah, it's I'm really enjoying that actually. And I'm probably going to integrate that with the other brands that we're working with. It's pretty slick.
Does Jungle Scout simplify the research process or shorten it in any way, Scott?
Well, yeah, it saves time. It saves time once you have something to drill down into. Now, if you're using the web app is going to allow you to kind of filter down the catalog and then have it, pull things to the surface. But I've always found that I pull it to the surface and then I'll then want to drill down outside of that, if that makes sense. So where it'll give me an idea. So the example I like to use is, we were doing a demo with the web app, and we found these little containers that gumballs come in a gumball machine. And I didn't even know what they were called. I forget now, but it was called some weird name. And I'm like, oh, those are what they're called. And they were too easy to replicate, and they were low price point and stuff. So it didn't make any sense, but it made me say, wow, what about vending machines? And then I started looking into vending machines. I'm like, oh, you could buy gumball machines or gumball accessories, or maybe replacement parts, or like it started taking me down another path that I wouldn't have been aware of if I didn't use that tool. So again, I always look for ways to not necessarily use the tool to identify that one product, but to identify a market and a product that can lead me to another product that might not be on the surface, if that makes sense.
It does. What is your advice for someone with a pretty small starting budget? Austin, there's a couple things here. I would say it depends on how small your starting budget is. But there's a lot of ways that you can do this. And we touched on retail arbitrage at the beginning, Scott. If you only have a couple $100, that might be a better actual way of getting started, and then using the profit that you make from that to turn that into your private label profit. What are your thoughts on something like that?
My thoughts are 1kfasttrack.com. That's
There's
pretty
actually,
easy.
Guys, I said that knowing that Scott was going to say that.
You did?
Oh my God, yes. Because I knew if I didn't, you would. We actually have a program that's specifically designed to help people with.
It's in beta, yeah.
And we're going through that right now, and that's just been fantastic. I think we did, before the program even started, we did a little bit of pre-challenge for people. And out of the 50 people in the class, I think we were able to make over $3,500. And that was pure profit in that first week because it was stuff they already had. And then we're actually going to find out the final numbers tomorrow at midnight.
Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow at midnight, it'll be the final numbers. But
I mean, just
yeah.
but from some of the screenshots that I've seen, I'm just absolutely blown away at some of the people taking action in there and doing that stuff. Retail ARB, if you only have a little bit of a budget, is something that you can leverage and grow very, very quickly. You do have some of the problems on the upper end, like Scott talked about, where it's kind of a one and done product, whatever. But if you're okay with that, and that's you're using that to start to generate your capital, absolutely nothing wrong with that. And it's a fantastic business model, and it works. Let's see. Should I ditch Amazon CA and go to Amazon.com? I wouldn't say, Ed, that you need to ditch Amazon CA, but I know most of our friends who sell in Canada sell 95% of their volume on .com inside of the US, including our good friend Dom Sugar, who you've heard on the podcast in the past. Desmond says a lot of YouTubers who do retail ARB are leaving due to the 2017 fees. Are these fees affecting private labelers as well? I actually haven't seen anybody saying that they're going to stop doing retail ARB. Again, just like everything else, is a little bit more difficult than it used to be. And some of the brands like Nike, you can no longer sell, right? But there's still hundreds and thousands of things like we just talked about that you can still sell through that. There are a couple fees like we talked about a little bit earlier, like your inventory storage fee, some of those kinds of things. But those haven't really changed a ton. They all go up with time, obviously, but it's not something that's going to stop anybody from private labeling. And that's the reason that you're looking for products that have that $10 margin, because then if somebody raises a fee or you end up with a product that's a little bit more slowly moving than you hoped it would be, and you do get whacked with that long-term storage fee, something like that it doesn't eat all of your margin and cost you money. Worst case, you would come out break even, right? When you order from AliExpress, do you still get it to your home and then send it to Amazon? Will it not kill my margin? Abdul, that would depend on where you live, I guess. If you live in the US, it's not really going to change your margin. And the reason for that, or if you're going to sell in whatever market that you live in, the reason for that is shipping a product into Amazon from wherever you are is so insanely dirt cheap that, yes, it's going to affect your margins a little bit, but it's not going to affect them greatly. We're talking pennies to ship pounds, right? It's not really a cost that you need to worry too much about. That being said, the reason that you're doing something like AliExpress to test, your intention is not necessarily even to make money. It's just to validate that product will sell. And then when you go and you place that bigger order, then you're going to start to profit. You can happen to make money from those test orders, and I have, but you're going to end up making money from the real order that you place after you've already validated that product sells. Josh is posting links for us. He just posted the 1K challenge inside of 1kfasttrack.com, which I think everybody should check out if you're struggling with kind of getting started and you don't really know where to start and you only have a little bit of capital to start. Definitely worth checking out. Asher says, Scott and Chris, when you're running sponsored ads for similar products, do bids compete against each other? Also, I searched for my product, but my brand name on Amazon, but couldn't find sponsored ads. Any idea why? I know my bid is pretty aggressive, even on my own brand name. Asher, not all search results, especially ones that don't have much search volume, will show sponsored ads. So that may be what you ran into there with your brand name. Check your impressions to make sure that you're actually showing up for anything. But other than that, I wouldn't worry too much about showing up. In terms of bidding against each other, you're not necessarily bidding against yourself. If you are, it's a penny difference, right? So the way that PPC generally works is it's the highest bid plus a penny gets you to that first spot. So if Scott's bidding $1 for me to be above him, I have to pay a penny one, right? So it may, in some cases, you have to like really try to do that. The place where you would run into this more than any other, and Scott, if you can think of another one, feel free to let me know. But the big place that I can think of is if you have like a blue variation and a green variation.
Right.
They potentially have 99% of the same keywords, right? And in that case, you wouldn't really be bidding against yourself because only one ad group or only one campaign is going to search for that. If you had different accounts with similar products, then you may run into that situation, but you generally don't want to do that anyway. Can you explain the importance of ACOS in regards to running PPC? ACOS is how much it costs you to make a sale, right? It's your average cost of sale. So if you have a 40% margin and your ACOS is over 40%, you're not making any money, right? So it's a really good indicator of whether or not a keyword or a search term is profitable, break even, or is costing you money. It's a really quick, at a glance way of understanding exactly what's going on inside of your PPC campaigns. Zach wants to know, Scott, how do we work out different BSR rankings based on category? It was mentioned that 3,000 to 6,000 is right for the type of products that we're seeking. But what about higher selling categories?
Well, number one, I think you have to figure out what that number is. There's a couple different ways that you can do it. First off, if you have Jungle Scout, it's going to allow you to see that number. They're going to give you a projected estimated sales and all that stuff. That would be the easiest way. The second way is to do the 999 trick, which I can't visually show you here tonight. But basically the way it works is you would go to that listing or that product in that category, and you would act as though you were going to purchase 999 units. And then it would come back and say, sorry, there's only 650 available. And then you would come back the next day at the same exact time and do the exact same thing. Say you're going to do 999, and it comes back and says, sorry, there's only 625 units available. And then you go, oh, in 24 hours, they sold 25. So then you would look at the BSR and you would go, it was, the night before it was 5,000. Today it's 5,200. So right around 5,000 means 25 units. So then you would have a gauge as to far as how the BSR is being judged. The easiest way is Jungle Scout. The manual way is you can do it the way I just explained.
Yeah, and that's what we used to have to do back in the day.
Totally.
When we walked uphill both ways to school in the snow.
Yeah.
No, honestly, guys, and that's somebody earlier asked, what's changed? How is it more difficult? And quite honestly, like the biggest thing that's changed is you have to do a little bit more product research, but product research has become so much easier that it's not even, to me, it's actually easier to launch products now than it ever has been before because you can find them. Like the product that we were talking about earlier that I found when I was putting together my guest room, right?
Yeah.
We validated that product basically instantaneously. And then we said, all right, let's go source it. Right.
Yep.
We never would have been able, it would have taken us 2 weeks
to
be able to validate that, because we would have had to go through the top 10 listings, done the 999 trick, use the spreadsheet that we gave you guys. And it's totally doable without any tools. The tools just make it instantaneous, which is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Chris, why don't we get ready to pick that winner? And then we'll wrap this up. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of go through that really quickly again. Let me go back here. So this is what we're going to do, guys. We're going to draw this out right now. I'm going to go ahead and pull the winner. I'm going to have Chris answer maybe one more quick question. And then while he's doing that, I'll pull the winner. So just let you guys know, if you are in the process of registering, maybe you'll get in on this. Hopefully you will, because I'm going to be going over there right now and doing it. And if you are live, this is only for you guys. If you are not live, if this is being broadcasted on a replay, sorry, this was for live attendees. But anyway, Chris, go ahead and maybe answer one question, and I'll go ahead and get these tallied up, and I will pull a winner.
Absolutely. Will says, when you find a product on Amazon, what kind of modifications do you do to it to separate yourself from others? Will, the answer to that is Scott's favorite one. It depends. It's going to depend on what the reviewers of those products are telling you needs to be improved, right? That's the number one go-to source for what you should do to improve that product. What do people like? Keep that. What don't people like? Get rid of that, make it better, improve their lives, and go from there. Brian says, my buddy owns Slick Deals. It would be better I would love to see how I could use his platform better. Brian, Slick Deals is a fantastic platform, so let him know that. If you can get listed on that site, it can go a great way to launching your product. But there's other ways that you can do it. And I saw somebody else asking about, what are your thoughts on like using ClickFunnels? And we talk a little bit about building your own email list, and you can kind of build your own small version of something like a Slick Deals, and actually, quite honestly, a little bit of a better version for long term if you do it yourself, but it takes a lot of time and effort. Slick Deals is people looking for deals, but you can also build your own list of people who are looking for things that you are selling and give them a discount on it, and they'll pick it up from you. Scott, were you able to pull that winner? Should I answer it?
Yep, I got it. Okay, so that's what we're going to do, guys. We are going to announce the winner, and I believe I can pronounce the winner's name. The last name's going to be a little tough, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. So the winner, and let me kind of go back to that page if I can. Yeah, right here. So 30-minute coaching call with me, free license to Jungle Scout, and an Amazon gift card, and this will all be sent to your email first thing in the morning. So the winner is Abdul Dawara. I think I pronounced it right. Dawara. Anyway, sorry I butchered your last name, but Abdul, you're the winner of our giveaway here. And what we're going to do is hop on a 30-minute coaching call when you need me. So basically, you let me know in the 5 phases, and then or after. And then you just email me and you say, hey, Scott, I'm ready. When can we get on a call? And then generally I need maybe 24 hours notice, and I can squeeze in a 30-minute coaching call. I love doing them too, by the way. I really do enjoy that. I get to kind of hear the ins and outs of where you're at and get you through that one sticking point or two. So definitely doing that. So anyway, congratulations, Abdul, and everyone else that had joined. You guys are all still winners because you guys are going to be part of a awesome community. You're going to be able to join us on an upcoming hangout. You're also going to get access to that bonus, which is kind of crazy. And I think I had a screenshot. Yeah, right here. This one right here, guys, like literally, like we could be doing this workshop right now, and then this could be the class, because this right here is 4+ hours of us showing you exactly how to build your own traffic source and your own little mini funnel, and how to build your own launch list, and then just how to scale that. So again, you get full access to this when you join. Again, this bonus may not be available the next time around, because this here is, like I said, people paid $1,000 to be in that room. We had a small, very small 25-person workshop where we taught this, and you're going to get all the recordings absolutely free. So I'm pretty psyched for you guys to have that. So again, guys, just to kind of recap here before we wrap up, if you guys are still on the fence, or maybe you just need some more time, that's fine, because this will be available to you now, and if you're watching this on a replay, until that expires, which should be in the next, I would say, 24 to 48 hours. So single investment option is $997. You can actually grab that by heading over to theamazingseller.com/code39, or just click the link on this page. The flex option, again, this is not public. This is only available here on the workshop. So we only offer this to workshop attendees because you guys took some time out of your night to spend with us. So we wanted to give you guys this option because some people requested it. 30-day satisfaction guarantee is there for you as well. For whatever reason you don't like it, or it's just not for you, just let us know. Within 30 days, we'll give you a full refund, no questions asked. So Chris, maybe do 1 or 2 more quick questions, and then we can wrap this up. We can probably jump over to camera here if you want.
Yeah. Before we do that, and you can go ahead and do that, and then I'll join you here in a second when I'm done finishing this thought. I gotta tell you a little story here about Abdul. Scott, I don't know if you saw it in the Scott earlier. Yeah, in the chat earlier. He said he was in, and his wife was glaring at him because it's the first time he's ever bought anything online, and she thought he was crazy.
Nice.
So then it turns out he won tonight.
That's funny.
Which I have to say, maybe get your wife on that 10-minute call too, and get her excited, get her jacked up, because something tells me she's going to be the inspiration for the product that you end up selling.
Probably. Yeah.
And it's going to be one of those things where she's going to be the one pushing you to do it. I can tell you right now that's going to happen. So congratulations, Abdul. Welcome to the class, and congrats on winning that prize. It's a pretty good time, if I do say so myself. Mike says, Scott, are there any quick red flags that turn you off from a product? E.g., the entire first Amazon page is very random products mixed in. I would say both of those are probably red flags for me. The 2 things that really kind of turn me off immediately, even if the sales are great, are everybody's an also ran, so everybody's selling the same exact water bottle, right?
Right.
Turn off for me. Turn off number 2 would be the reviews, right? If I see 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 reviews, I don't care how much it's selling. I don't want to compete, because there's other products that I can find that are going to sell almost as much, and I'm going to have to do a lot less in terms of competition. Do you kind of feel the same way on both of those, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see here. I saw a comment on Facebook TAS today about lowering the price on Amazon being bad for the market. What are your thoughts on that, since you said you could lower your price to kind of clear everything out?
Yeah, no, I agree that you could start to have a race to the bottom. But for the most part, if someone's doing it temporarily, I don't see any harm in that. What he's or what they're suggesting, or what they're saying that could happen is if you lower your price and then you try to match my price and then I try to match yours, we kind of keep going back and forth, or 3 people or 4 people start doing that, everyone starts to race. Now, our good friend Bill Shrutwa, who he has said through this entire process of him launching his product, he's never reduced his price because his competition has, and people have just been constantly doing that, and he's still selling. So sometimes you just have to stick to where you're at, and if you don't lower your price, sometimes it looks like you have a better product. So as long as your product looks a little different, or you have better packaging, something that can make it be like, well, why is this one $23.95 and this one's $14.95? Like, what's the difference? Oh, this packaging looks different. Is it the same product? I don't know. It might not be the same product. Immediately, your perceived value just went up. And because you're charging more, it must be better, right? It's like one of those things. Now, I'm not saying put a crappy product in a good box, but what I'm saying is if you're going to compete on price, it's going to be a very limited amount of time that you're going to be selling. You have to figure out a way to have better packaging, have a better user experience, and you have to have better images, like all of that stuff. Like, even if you just took a basic garlic press and you had better photography, you're probably going to be perceived value is going to be higher. Now, I'm not saying go out there and sell a garlic press, but I'm just saying your pictures will definitely do a better job. So just, don't worry about that. Have a better product, differentiate it the best that you can, and then stick to the plan.
Melanie says, if you're adding your own label to products from China, then how is it that you ship straight to FBA? How would you get the labels on the products? Melanie, private label isn't necessarily you putting your own label on this water bottle. It's done at the manufacturing part of the process, right? So your manufacturer would actually put that label on there. Or if you're not labeling the product directly, whoever's creating the box, whether that's you printing the box or the manufacturer printing the box, that's where the label is going to be applied. It's not necessarily applied like by hand by you. That would be crazy and crazy inefficient. So if you can avoid that in any way, do it. And we don't label products ourselves. The manufacturers do it for us.
Right.
In my current business, I never sell by price. I charge a premium for more value and a good quality product. Exactly, Brian. And Scott, I don't know when the last time you bought a TV is, but have you heard the brand name Monster Cable?
Yes.
Okay. I'm a recovering home theater installer, right? Monster Cable sells HDMI cables, the thing that you plug into your TV to get high def. Most people will. For like $150. The same exact cable costs like $1.50 to make, and you can buy it for mono price for $9. Not a single person on planet Earth, nor any computer, can tell a difference in the picture quality. Yet they sell it at 100 times what you can buy it for, because they have brand value and they have perception. Price is not the only factor, and I'm glad Brian pointed that out, because you can sell at any price point you want. And actually, most of our products tend to be on the higher end of the markets that we sell in. And we know that we can get away with that because we've created that perception in the photos, in the copy, in our reviews, because we have improved the product. And so people start to get the feeling that you're worth more than the also ran blank water bottle type products.
Yeah.
Did you see any other questions that you wanted to answer really quick, Scott?
No, I don't think I did. Josh says he just signed up for the 1K Fast Track. Here's the link for everyone. And just to let everyone know, on the 1K Fast Track right now, it's on a early notification list, so it's not even open for registrations as far as like to join the class. That's a limited number that we're putting into that class. We just had a 50-person beta group that actually filled in literally 6 minutes. So we are about to announce that in the next week and a half. And it'll be opening up soon, and we're going to limit it to only 75 to 100 people. So that early notification list is definitely something you're going to want to jump on if you're interested in that. If you're at that stage where you're like, you know what, I just want to get started, but I don't have a lot of capital, I just want to get started. That would be a good one. But anyway, just wanted to kind of clear that up. But no, I think we're good. I think we had a really good turnout tonight, and I think a lot of people got value. A lot of people were saying how much they appreciate it and all of that fun stuff. So I want to say thanks, everyone, for attending and making this awesome, because with you guys, the energy comes through, and we definitely love to hear from you guys and answering all your questions the best that we can, and spending this almost 3 hours together. is always pretty awesome. I mean, Chris and I have done this. We've done it for our unofficial meetups, and we've done it for our paid live events, and we do it here free on these workshops. So if you guys got value, definitely let us know. So this way here, we can see that what we're doing is the right thing. So Chris, is there anything you want to wrap up with before we sign off tonight?
Absolutely. So guys, there's still almost 100 of you, or just over right around 100 of you hanging out with us still. And we've been on for 2 hours and 53 minutes since we went live. And the fact that you're still hanging out tells me one thing. It tells me that this is something that's interesting to you. So what I would like to do is I would like to ask a favor of you at this point. Since you hung out with us for 3 hours, do Scott and I a favor. Actually do something with what we taught you here tonight.
There you go.
You hear it all the time that knowledge is power. I disagree with that. And Scott, I sent you a text because I was reading Tony Robbins' new book last week and he stole my sentence. But knowledge is not power. It's the application of that knowledge that is power, right? It's actually taking action. And that's why you guys hear Scott say, take action at the end of every single podcast that he does, because that's where the real power comes from. Like I said earlier, you don't have to have hours and hours and hours of time to make this business model work. You can do it in as little as 10, 15, 20-minute chunks.
Totally.
To really get started. And we've laid out all 5 phases of what you need to get started. There's how many episodes of the podcast now, Scott? 300 and...
Yeah, we're at 3. We're going to be hitting 320 something here soon.
Okay. So just over 320 episodes of the podcast that are out there that can help you. There's the Facebook community. There's no reason that if you want to get started in this business that you can't. So please, please, please take 10, 15 minutes a day over the next week. See if you can put that in your calendar on your phone, whether it's in the morning, whether it's going to Panera at lunch rather than hanging out with your coworkers, whether that's staying up an extra 15 minutes a night to start doing that product research. And I promise you, if you do that 15, 20 minutes a day for the next 7 to 14 days, you'll be shocked at how much work you actually get done and how far into the first or second phase of this business that you are in just a week. And really that's what, Scott, 3 hours of total time if you do that for a week.
Yeah.
Right. So if you
adds
can
up.
find 3 hours, you can start to find products, or maybe you've already found a product and you can start to source those products. It's amazing what you can do in just those little tiny chunks of time. And they really do add up over time.
Yeah, Josh says, he said, I tell my kid all the time, consistency is more important than talent. And it's true. Showing up every day is something in itself. And I'm going to go back to my favorite book, my audio book. I also have it in paperback, is The Compound Effect. If you get out there and you apply something every single day, small, just small little steps, they add up to big steps. And again, it's a part about just keep moving when you don't feel like moving. And those days will come. But I would also advise, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to start a business, try to get around people that are going to help pick you up on those days and help you through those tough times, because there will be tough times. There will be struggles. There will be obstacles. But nothing is impossible. So just get out there and take what we taught you. If you're at the very beginning stages, just do the touch list tomorrow morning. Start tomorrow. What's stopping you? Literally, what is stopping you from grabbing a piece of paper and a pen and starting your touch list? There it is. That's it. That's all you need. So there's nothing stopping you. No tool. I'm not even telling you to go buy anything. Just start. You have to put yourself in motion. I'm trying to get you to the starting line. That's what I'm trying to do. And if I can get you to the starting line, I can get you to start. And if I get you to start, I probably can keep you moving. Inside of our class, we really, really try to make that a huge part of it, because we know that if we can get you moving, sometimes it's hard to get you to stop, right? And there's some things that we've got moving right now inside the class that's going to help along with that. And we're testing a few things right now, but we've got things like completion, sections in the class that isn't live yet, but we're working on it, because we know that if we can get you moving and getting you to see the progress, it's going to keep you moving on that path. So just surround yourself with like-minded people that can help you grow. And you can basically do anything you want. I do truly believe that. So, Chris, I think that's going to wrap it up. This has been fun as usual. Always love getting on here with you and hanging out with a bunch of awesome people. So just wanted to again say thanks everyone for attending. A lot of you are saying thank you. Someone else, wait a minute, real quick. I'm going to answer one question here that I seen popped in. Something about, okay, Ed, I think it was, should I quit Amazon.ca? I think you already answered that. I just need to know. And the answer is no, you don't have to quit it, but you probably want to focus on the .com because there's more traffic. It's just right now it's really just a lot easier because there's a lot more traffic in there. And I don't want to say easier, I say that lightly, but there's more traffic. So it's like you're putting a bucket in the river, right? It's like it's already flowing. In Canada, our good friend Dom Sugar is from Canada and he sells very little in Canada. He focuses more on the US. So anyway, just want to kind of throw that out there to you and didn't want to leave you hanging. So and then Jeb says Seb, I'm sorry, almost 5 a.m. here, gonna have a few hours sleep and then go or get straight onto the private label classroom. Awesome, Seb. So good. I like the way you're thinking. It's gonna be hard to sleep though. I can tell you that right now. Probably wheels are gonna be turned.
It's like going to Disney.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, when I get a good idea in my head, it's hard to get to sleep. I can't wait to get up in the morning. When you can't wait to get up in the morning, you're onto something. I'm telling you that right now. Like when you get that, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get up in the morning, you're onto the gold. So definitely stay in that mode. It's a good mode. All right, Chris, I think that's going to wrap it up. Again, guys, if you have any questions that we didn't answer here tonight, if you want to send an email at support@theamazingseller.com, we'll do our best to answer them. And if you have any questions on the class, you can submit them there as well. And if you did join the class, just want to let you guys know all of your credentials should have been mailed to you. If you did not get something in an email, look in your spam or your bulk folder. Sometimes it will get delivered there, and you'll have to then put us in your whitelist or just throw us in your inbox versus in the promotions folder or something like that. But then from there, you'll have full access, and then just request access to the Facebook group, and we'll get you approved ASAP. All right, Chris, I think that's going to wrap it up. Guys, good night. Get out there. Do something with this information. Don't just consume it, like I've said before. All right, so take care, and as always, take action. We'll see you guys. Bye.